What's up, everybody? How's everybody doing?
Thank you.
Just waiting for everybody to come on. We're going to be going over the astrology of this week. Really excited to tap in. Grand Rising. Hello. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you guys happen to be at. I am coming to you from an undisclosed location, my parents' backyard in California. Look at the beautiful weather. It's all nice and sunny. I thought today would be a good day to do the live outside because, like, yeah, the weather is beautiful and let's enjoy it. Do you guys love these, by the way? Oh, sorry. Let me position that back up. Do you guys love these, by the way? I love the Olipop, these prebiotic, probiotic drinks. I love these, by the way. Thank you, my love. This is not a sweater. This is a shirt, but it's okay. All right. We have a lot to talk about. Happy New Year. Merry fucking Christmas. We're exiting 2025, moving into 2026. I believe we got a full moon coming up. I don't know if any of y'all noticed that, but I think we have a very emotional full moon in Cancer coming up in a few days. Let me see what day the full moon is. We have the moon in Taurus as of today. The moon was in Aries throughout the weekend, and I don't know if y'all noticed the moon in Aries over the weekend, but I sure did because why? I was a little irritated. On Sunday, I woke up on Sunday and I was a little angry. I was a little pissed off for no reason. Me and my mom, we've gotten in a few little tiffs here and there from Sunday, yesterday. It's the moon in Aries. What can you say? What can you do? It's the moon in Aries. Also, I think another really interesting thing that we have going on is we have Sun, Mars, and Venus all together. So we have Sun, Mars together transiting. Sun and Mars are moving together in the sign of Capricorn. And we have Mercury wrapping up his transit in Sag this week. Mercury squaring Neptune and Saturn. So if you've been feeling a little kind of like a little delusional, a little escapist, a little avoidant, if you've been feeling like you've just been wanting alone time, if you've been also feeling like excessively sleepy or excessively lazy, just very tired or very exhausted or very worn out, it's because we're moving away from all the Sag energy. So Mercury's about to leave Sag. And we're having the planet squaring Neptune and Saturn in Pisces. So we had Venus square Neptune and Saturn in Pisces. We have Mercury this week in a square with Neptune and Saturn. And this like Neptune, Saturn, and Pisces has been kind of making things a little foggy, making things a little exhausting, making things a little confusing. A lot of emotion as well. The Saturn, Neptune, and Pisces has been bringing up a lot of emotion, a lot of sensitivity, a lot of feelings. A lot of people have been reporting, grief, sadness, things like this. Just a lot of heavy energy. Because we're wrapping up Saturn and Pisces for over the next 3 months. So this is one thing I think it's really important to keep in mind is Saturn is wrapping up his 30-year cycle throughout the zodiac. And Saturn is wrapping up his cycle in Pisces, right? He's wrapping up his 2.5-year transit in Pisces. He's been transiting Pisces since 2023. So now that we have, Saturn's at this Saturn, Neptune, but Saturn at the last degrees of Pisces, there's a lot of things like coming to a close, a lot of like completions, a lot of endings, like, um, there are certain karmic chapters coming to a close. We may, people leaving jobs, people moving, people retiring, people going to funerals, sickness and illness. That's another Pisces thing. We've had the nodes going through Pisces and Virgo, the South nodes in Virgo, Saturn's in Pisces. So a lot of illness, a lot of sickness. I just want you guys to keep just be mindful of this energy because if it comes to find you, don't take it personal. Okay. Like it's really important that we understand there's a season for like joy and laughter, and then there's a season for like sadness and grief, right? And you may find yourself in the season of joy and laughter just because the way your chart is activated, but also you can be feeling this Saturn and Pisces energy, which is a lot about sadness. And one of the things I was talking about in the week ahead astrology last week, when I was talking about this Capricorn season puts the finishing touches on Saturn and Pisces' energy, right? On what Saturn and Pisces has meant or has been about for us personally over the last 2.5 years. This is because Capricorn season, the sun transiting Capricorn is pulling energy, is feeding off of Saturn and Pisces. You know, Saturn is a dispositor for the sun when the sun transits Capricorn and Aquarius, because Capricorn and Aquarius are traditionally ruled by planet Saturn. So wherever Saturn's at, whatever Saturn is doing is what the sun is responding to this Capricorn season. So with Saturn and Pisces, you know, us wrapping up this kind of like Saturn and Pisces transit over the next 3 months, going into March. There's just, we have to understand that there's certain things that are meant to come to a close or come to an end at this time, or there's certain emotional heaviness that needs to be like processed or needs to be released. Okay. One of the things that I do find exciting this week, though, and one of the things I've been finding exciting even last week, is the sun and Mars together, transiting together. I think this is a really, really good energy for new commitments, new frontiers, starting something or beginning new things. I think there's going to be strong themes of people initiating things or starting things or beginning things, okay? Because of the sun, Mars transiting together. You know, when Mars is exalted in the sign of Capricorn, not only do we feel more aggressive or more irritable, but we also feel more ambitious. We feel more capable. We feel more willing to go beyond our boundaries, to go beyond our limitations. And this is one of the things that the sign of Capricorn is meant to teach us, right? Capricorn teaches us that hardship and resistance and difficulty and struggle kind of creates strength, creates power, creates inner fortitude, right? We cultivate resilience when we have to deal with resistance or struggle or hardship in our life. So I really want us to lean into that this season, this Capricorn season. Also, we got to think about it. 2026 is going to be a 1 year. It's a year of the fire horse. So it has a lot to do with beginnings and initiation. You know, when we're talking about a 1 year in numerology, we're talking about this idea, the number one being ruled by the sun, has a lot to do with the self, has a lot to do with pioneering energy, emancipating yourself from something, starting something, beginning something new, moving forward in a new direction. And kind of even, you know, there's this element of reclamation of power. I always think about that with the fire element, especially we're talking about a fire horse year. The fire element has a lot to do with individuality, has a lot to do with the self, has a lot to do with what you want, your own desires, your own goals, right? Your own willpower. And I think of the sun as the sun is like the planet of will, right? And you'll see this, but people have Leo placements, right? You'll see this with Leo placements because they're connected to the sun. They're very willful people, right? I always think of like the sun being connected to leaders and like authority figures and kings and queens. Sometimes it's like their authority just comes because they claim it. They're like, I am the king because I said so. Like I am the queen because I said so. You know, there's this really amazing series called C. I think it's on, is it on Apple? I think it's on Apple. But there's this scene where the evil queen, right? The evil queen in the show. You guys have to check it out. It's really good. It's called C. Stop barking. Come on. Don't partake in those malevolent dog activities, okay? Come on. But anyways, in the show, right, there's a point where she's like, I am the queen because I say so. And to me, that's very Leo energy. And I think a lot of people are going to be making these kind of proclamations for themselves. Like, I am doing this, I am doing that because I want this, because of who I am, because this is part of my identity, because this is an expression of self. And so I really do think that, you know, we're going to see a lot of people, especially this upcoming year, kind of like initiating or starting something new, but beginning something or doing something that kind of goes beyond their limitations, that is an act of courageousness or bravery, or it's like something that they've been wanting to do for a very, very long time, but they haven't had that self-assertiveness, they haven't had that willpower, right? They haven't had that confidence even, you know, when we're talking about the sun, we're talking about Leo energy, we're talking about confidence, that have the confidence. And so if you are someone that's kind of thinking about that, if you're thinking about, like, let's say next year, you're thinking about starting a business, you're thinking about moving somewhere really far. Hey, come on, relax. You're thinking about you want to start going to the gym, you want to, like, you know, work on your body, you want to work on your health, you want to kind of do something. But that's also, I don't know, I also think I'm thinking about Sun, Mars, and Capricorn opposite of Cancer, and I'm thinking about this idea of kind of breaking away from the family or breaking away from ancestry or breaking away from family karmic patterns. I think this is going to be a really strong theme in 2026. I think there's going to be a lot of people kind of deviating from family and whatever that means to you or to them. So this can be like, oh yeah, you come from a family of farmers, but no, you're going to be the first person to be a lawyer. Oh, your family typically has a karmic pattern of X, Y, and Z in relationships. So, oh, you're the first one to have this type of relationship, right? This type of experience, this type of family, this type of whatever. So there's something around like needing to break away or liberate the self from the karmic pattern that runs in the family. And I think this is going to be a strong theme in 2026 with us being in a 1 year. One, right, is about me, what I want, individuality, the self. The 1 year is not about partnership. It's not about relationship. It's not about others. It's about the self. It's about individuation. It's about who am I outside of my relationship? Who am I outside of my family? Outside of my family narratives, my family story, outside of the roles that I play in other people's lives, right? Who am I outside of the connection to others, relation to others? Who is that person? Who is that self that is apart, that stands apart from the other, right? So many of us, we define ourselves in relation to others. I'm a mother. I'm a daughter. I'm a grandma. That's great. I love that for you. But baby, is that who you are? No, those are roles that you play. Those are roles that you play. Those are relationship-based roles that you play. Who are you outside of those things? Who are you outside of those roles that you play? Who are you outside of the ways that you participate in other people's lives? You need to figure that out in 2026. The sun and Mars is inviting us right now during this Capricorn season to really figure out who we are individually, who we are outside of our relations to others or the roles that we play for others or how we show up for others and things like this. Okay. So many of us, we define ourselves based on the roles that we play in other people's lives. And this upcoming year, this 1 year is going to remind us, wait a minute. There is a me outside of all of this. There is someone that is apart from all this. And who is that person? What does that person want? What does that person need? Is that person fulfilled? Right. And if you find that you're not fulfilled, you're not happy, okay, something is missing. This year, a horse year, a fire year, a 1 year fire horse year is your opportunity to go out and quest for it, to go out and seek it, to go out and obtain it, to go out and get it. Go look for your joy, look for your peace, look for your contentment, look for your happiness, whatever it is that you're seeking, whatever it is that you're questing for, whatever it is that you're looking for. Okay. So I think I just really want to, I want to hit this idea home. I really want to I want you guys to have this ingrained in your consciousness as we step into 2026. So you kind of know what your work is. So you kind of know where to channel your energy. Okay. I think it's very, very important. Okay. So beautiful thing. All right. Today, tomorrow, Wednesday, we have the moon in Taurus. Yeah, the moon goes into Gemini on Wednesday. So I'm looking at evening. So we have the moon in Taurus today and tomorrow. Who's taking things back? Doing some post-Christmas shopping. Hanging out with the family. The moon in Taurus is actually a vibe today. Because the moon is trining Venus, the sun, and Mars in Capricorn. So today and tomorrow's really good days for connection, really good days for grounding. We've been in our new moon in Sagittarius cycle. So, a lot of people have been traveling. A lot of people have been visiting family. There's some kind of displacement right now for a lot of people. They're visiting someone, they're visiting family, they're visiting somebody, or they're away from home right now because we've been in this new moon in Sag cycle. But what's really interesting is, we have a full moon in Cancer this week. So we exit our new moon in Sag cycle, right? This week, and then we move into our full moon in Cancer. And what that just gave me is homecoming. Homecoming. So it's like the new moon in Sag was like the journey, was like the travel, was like going out in the world, experiencing, the celebration, the holidays, whatever. Where the full moon in Cancer coming up this weekend is like, we're coming back home. right? It's time to go home. We're starting the new year. We got work on Monday, whatever, whatever. It's like that type of energy. So, but I think what's really important is like with this full moon in Cancer coming up this weekend, we have to really ask ourselves, what does home mean for us? What does home signify? What is our relationship with home and family? And what is this kind of karmic path? I think what's so interesting, I just got this download around like a lot of people, I don't know if there's people on this live that are like thinking about this, but there's something about I'm getting a download around like having to make a choice between like family and home. And this could also be like maybe you individually are in this place. A choice between like family, home, becoming a mom, becoming a parent, buying a house, committing to a long-term relationship, like grounding, stability, home, family, baby making, in contrast to like career, the self, individuality, success, movement, leaving, starting a new life, like kind of like a liberation, beginning something, starting, I don't know. There's like this option or this choice or this contention between these two sides of life where it's like one part of life is calling us to home and family and like procreation and like grounding and like rooting and like commitment and like safety and security, and this other part of life is like calling us to like freedom and like doing something new and doing something different and like breaking the pattern and like separating the self. And I don't know where you happen to be at in that polarity or if you're experiencing that, but if you are if this message is like for you, or if you're kind of like in this place of like, do I stay or do I go? Or do I like, do I stay or do I go? Or do I like ground and like commit and like, roots? Or do I like uproot and leave and like venture off? If you're in that place, one of the things I will tell you is you could do both. Okay. You could do both. That polarity that you may be feeling or experiencing may not be a real one. That just may be in your mind. Okay. Or if you're still caught in between those two, all right, give yourself time. You'll get clarity or you'll get answers whenever, like, soon, maybe soon, but you'll know what the right path is to take, or you'll know which way to go. Because I think that's what the axis of Capricorn and Cancer is about. And this is one of the things I've noticed with people that have a lot of Capricorn and Cancer placements, especially if they're born on like a Cancer or a Capricorn like full moon, is there's this tension between like worldly success and worldly ambition and like wanting to go out in the world and like achieve and like become something, and like responsibility to like the family and like the home and like ancestry and like even parenting, right? Because the full moon in Cancer reminds us like, wait a minute, we got to nurture and care for others. We got to nurture and care for ourselves. Some of us, we do have children and we have to make a lot of karmic sacrifices, Capricorn, for our kids, for our children, Cancer, right? The role of a parent has a lot to do with sacrifice and a lot of like self-sacrifice that goes into being a parent and what that means. And so, I think one of the interesting things about this full moon in Cancer coming up is it's gonna but it's we have Jupiter in Cancer as well. So, there is this energy of definitely procreation and pregnancy with the full moon for sure. Because with that Jupiter, but there's also this energy of people having to make like karmic choices, having to make karmic choices with the full moon in Cancer coming up. Let me see, hold on. I want to like I want to take a look at the exact full moon. It's on Saturday. Let me go by the hour here so I can break it down. How was everybody's New Year's though? Everybody have everybody's Christmas. How's everybody's Christmas? Everyone have a fun Christmas? Yeah, like it's gonna be I believe is it a 13-degree full moon? Let me see. It might be at 13. Oh, it's at 12. It's a Pisces degree full moon. Yeah, we have oh yeah, it's interesting. Oh, it's a full moon conjunct Venus. This is gonna be a very beautiful full moon. Well, the sun is conjunct Venus. That's what I meant to say. We have Sun, Venus opposite the moon. For this full moon in Cancer coming up on Saturday, January 3rd. Um, there's Mars involved though. So we have Sun Mars together and we have Mars opposite the moon as well. So we have this tension between like Venus and Mars, this conversation happening with Venus and Mars for the upcoming full moon on Saturday. I think that's going to be interesting because Venus brings us into the realm of values and relationships and partnerships, and Mars brings us into the realm of like desire and like power and authority and like assertiveness and also like feistiness and fire and heat and passion. Venus and Mars together, right, really ignites our passions, especially our sexual passions. Also things around romance and love and relationships, like these are going to be big themes for the full moon in Cancer. I think there is going to be proclamations of love this full moon. Also, people kind of like family planning, or people like committing, or people getting married, or people planning to get married, stuff like this. Going to be very big themes for the full moon in Cancer. I think this is also a beautiful time to go out and meet people. When Sun Venus, we have a Sun Venus Kazemi. It's a very social, interactive time when the Sun and Venus are together as well, especially when Venus and Mars are together. So Venus and Mars, when they come together, they ignite our passions, they ignite our desires. We feel more attractive, we feel more sexy, we feel like flirting a little bit more. It's Capricorn. We don't think of Capricorn as a flirtatious sign, right? It's a very conservative sign. But I don't know, the energy is definitely, there's a kind of like a feisty, playful energy in the air this weekend with our full moon in Cancer. There will be some family fallouts though. I also want you guys to be mindful of the Mars influence on the full moon in Cancer coming up. Mars does bring this energy of irritation and like feistiness. And I'm just seeing Mars in Capricorn opposite the moon in Cancer, and to me this is kind of like people feeling very hypersensitive, or people feeling irritable or easily triggered by family, okay, for this weekend as we move out of the New Year's, okay, into the what is that, the first week of January. So January 3rd. I just want you guys to be very mindful of Sun Mars. You got to be mindful of Sun Mars transiting together, okay? I was talking about it last week. It's going to be in the air this week. It's going to be in the air for the full moon, Sun Mars energy. Which I like though. I think Sun Mars is great. Mars exalts in Capricorn, I was talking about this Anthony Joshua, um, the fighter that beat what's his name? That beat Jake Paul. He has a Sun Mars conjunct in his natal chart. And one of the big things about, Sun Mars energy, when the Sun Mars signature is in the sky, but also people that have that natally, we feel like the warrior spirit. We feel very assertive. We want to like fight for ourselves. We want to like, we feel more commanding. We feel more courageous. We feel more like, yeah, Jake Paul. So, oops, sorry about that. I definitely have do not disturb, so I don't know how that phone call was able to come through, but whatever. Let it be what it is. So yeah, okay. So be mindful of the Sun Mars energy together, okay? Somebody was saying something, I don't know, somebody in my group chat was saying something about January being dangerous, or the new year being dangerous. I don't know about that. Maybe it's because I think what they're looking at is 29-degree Mercury and Sag squaring Neptune at 29 degrees and Saturn at 26. What I will say for this New Year's, with Mercury square Neptune, you just gotta be really careful about drinking and driving and like doing drugs and stuff like that. Okay. This New Year's. Mercury square Neptune is a blackout signature, is an overdose signature, is a not remembering what happened, and you end up somewhere and you're like, especially when the moon's in Gemini, responding to Mercury and Sag squaring Neptune on New Year's Day, and we have Sun Mars together. So to me, I don't know, when I see Sun Mars together, those are both planets of authority, especially in Capricorn. To me, that gives me um authority figures are like out on the prowl, okay? and Mercury square Neptune, Mercury square Saturn in Pisces, the Sag Neptune, the Sag Pisces square, that's not a good one. Those are both ruled by Jupiter, you know? So Sag and Pisces are both ruled by Jupiter. And Jupiter has a lot to do with excess, overindulgence, doing too much of things, okay? And this could be like going too fast. This could be drinking too much. This can be like partying too late, you know? This can be like taking unnecessary risks. If anybody knows Sagittarius energy, okay, or knows Sag people, Sag is a sign of risk taking. Sag loves risk. This is why Sagittarius in the sign of Sag is connected to gambling. Okay, it's connected to because there's a gambling and investments and things like this because Sag likes the gamble. There's something about Jupiter. Jupiter, right? Jupiter rule people, Pisces and Sag, especially Sag. Pisces and Sag, they love to push their luck because they're ruled by Jupiter, the planet of luck and abundance. So, you know, Sag and Pisces people tend to be a little bit more protected than others. They tend to get away with things. They tend to get lucky, but a lot of times what they do is they push their luck, they exhaust their luck. And what they do is because they're taking too much of Jupiter's energy, they're relying too much on Jupiter. Jupiter at some point he's like, okay, you know what? You're pushing it too far. I can't protect you anymore. I can't do nothing for you. Like you've gone too far. You've exhausted your lucky resources. I can no longer protect you in this situation. Look at the hole you got yourself in. Like I can't really help you there, buddy. Right? I gave you the warnings. I've protected you X amount of times, right? But there's that one time. So it's something to be mindful of, something to be aware of. Um Something to be mindful of, something to be aware of because of the Mercury Neptune square. And because we don't want to we don't want to we just got to be mindful. Mercury square Neptune. Someone said that their TikTok account was hacked and that it was banned or something. Well, that's Mercury square Saturn for you. You're welcome. So Mercury right now, Mercury is at, let me see, what degree is he at? Mercury's at 24, Sag, squaring Saturn at 26, Pisces. So Mercury is a planet of social media. Mercury is communication, right? Mercury has a lot to do with social media. And when Mercury's in a square with Saturn, especially Saturn in Pisces, this can be about scams. This can be about getting hacked. This is about losing access, but it's about like restriction, right? Saturn is restriction, square Mercury, restriction of social media. Mercury square Saturn. This Mercury square Saturn could show up in a lot of different ways today, tomorrow, going into Wednesday, because we have the Mercury Saturn square. And then Mercury finishes out with his square to Neptune on New Year's Day on Thursday. But yeah, that this can be about like delays, canceled appointments, you know, your social media getting hacked, losing money, losing objects, breaking something, you know, your car breaking down, you're traveling and all of a sudden a hotel can't take you. All of a sudden you're traveling and your tire pops and you need to get a new tire. So there's like a delay in your travel experience. Mercury and Sagittarius being the sign of travel, right? So, and Mercury also being one of the planets of travel. Mercury and Jupiter are both planets of travel. So when we're talking about Mercury square Saturn, we just got to be mindful of this energy, okay? This week. As Mercury builds into that square with Neptune, which perfects on New Year's Day, which is Thursday. All right. Okay. What was I talking about? Where was I? So yeah, oh yeah, so New Year's Day, we just got to be everything went wrong with my trip overnight. Yeah, well that's Mercury Saturn for you. Mercury Saturn in a square with each other. So yeah, my loves. Also, interestingly enough, I think this full moon in Cancer coming up, I just because it's gonna be at 12 degrees, I think the nodes are also gonna be at 12 degrees. Let me just double check before I speak on that. Let me see if they go to 11. Are they still at 12 on Saturday? Oh, wow. They're still at 12 on Saturday. Yeah. So we have a full moon in Cancer that's at 12 degrees, which is a Pisces degree, right? As the nodes are also at 12 degrees. All right. So The full moon in Cancer is also trining the North Node in Pisces and sextiling the South Node in Virgo. So the full moon in Cancer, right next to Jupiter, trining the North Node. To me, this is about good opportunistic new beginnings coming in with this full moon. Yeah, Saturn in the North Node in the ninth house away. I don't know. There may be some unexpected random blessings that come in for folks for the new year, this full moon. I'm looking at Uranus in the 11th house away from the full moon. I'm thinking about Jupiter ruling the sixth house away. If you put the full moon in Cancer on the rising, we have Sag in the sixth house, which is Jupiter ruled, and then we also have Saturn, North Node, Neptune in the ninth house away. To me, this is divine opportunity or divine luck, or like people having good outcomes with certain things. Jobs, health, maybe. It really depends. I think the water signs and the earth signs are definitely going to get the benefit of this energy, but there should be some new jobs for people coming in for the new year. Definitely new jobs. Also, if you're looking for a place to live, you're looking for a home, that's I've got a download around good stuff with that also. Good outcomes with people looking to move or looking to relocate, especially in the next 3 months. You may get some insight during the full moon and cycle starting on Saturday. Okay. So the next 2 weeks, starting this upcoming Saturday, the 2 week cycle starting this upcoming Saturday on the 3rd, you may get some insight. You may get some feedback. You may get some divine direction. You may get a letter, a phone call. You may get something. Okay. You may initiate the process even around the purchase of a home or around moving or relocating or something. Okay. There may be some messaging that comes in around that. So you want to be mindful about it. Cancer is a sign of home. Full moon in Cancer. Cancer is a sign of home, property, real estate, okay, where we're living. So, and it's co-present with Jupiter. We have Jupiter right next to the full moon, all right? And it's trining the North Node. So to me, I feel like this is like divine lucky opportunities coming in, especially around home living situations, okay? I think this is a good full moon to manifest with. It's right next to Jupiter. If you want to do some moon magic, you want to make some moon water, okay? You want to make some moon water, you want to bless your home, you want to do a New Year's clearing, you want to do some manifestation around living home stuff or family stuff or even babies, procreation. Oh, that's another good one. That's another good one. If you're trying to have a baby this year, you want to do some manifestation work around procreation or birthing something or creating something, baby, home especially, do some manifestation ritual this weekend. Okay. Saturday, Sunday. You could do it on Sunday too, because the moon's actually going to be conjoined Jupiter on Sunday. We have a full moon on Saturday, but the moon's going to be sitting with Jupiter on Sunday. It's a beautiful day to manifest, okay? And do some water manifestation, something Cancerian. So, you can go to the ocean and like leave an offering to the ocean, or you can do write a letter, or you could write a list or something and put it in like some water and then like close it or something like that. That just came to me. I don't know. Or hit up one of your favorite Etsy witches, okay? Have them do some manifestation work for you, do some ritual work for you. Or you can speak over like what I do, which is I'm not at home right now, but on my altar, I have a glass of water and I change it every Sunday. And what I do a lot of times with that glass of water, not all the time, but a lot of times, is I'll speak into it. I'll speak into the water, my little glass of water, what I want to see happen or what I want to manifest. Yeah. A bath. Also, you could do a manifestation bath. You could go ahead and put your crystals and put your flowers and whatever it is. And you could do a manifestation bath that works as well. However you manifest, baby, or just like feeling into it, Cancer, emotion, feeling, we're always manifesting. By the way, I want to just share story time real quick. We're going to have a what is it? Little break time. Okay. Little break time from the astrology story time. So when I was on vacation with my parents last week, we went to Solvang, California, which is like a little Danish community in the middle of nowhere. It's right next to Santa Barbara. Really beautiful. I was literally showing my parents the power of manifestation in real time. Like, it was so crazy. I was in the supermarket And we ended up getting like sandwiches because it was like Christmas Eve and all the restaurants were closed. We had nothing to eat. So we ended up going to Albertsons getting some like just deli sandwiches. And I was like, I always eat my sandwich with with salt and vinegar chips, right? And I was like, I don't see them, but watch. I'm just gonna turn the corner and they're gonna be right there. Literally, I turned the corner and I looked to the left, and the chips are just like right there. It was so crazy. What are you chewing on that for, dude? My dog chewing on a leaf. I'm just gonna let him do his thing. So that was one. Okay, this one was really creepy. This one was really creepy, you guys. It was really creepy. I don't know if you guys saw the photo of me in the cemetery. So we went to the Santa Ynez or the Santa Ynez mission. Santa Ynez mission. I think it's called Santa Ynez mission. It's one of the many missions that is like over 200 years old over here in California. But when I was walking through the cemetery, I don't know if you guys have ever seen those shows or those movies where like someone has a dream or they're like walking through a cemetery and they look at a headstone and they see their name. I was like walking through the cemetery and I was literally thinking, oh my God, that would be so crazy if like my name was on one of these headstones. Tell me why I look dead. Literally, as this thought is passing my head, I'm like, oh yeah, there's like, those movies where people are like walking through the cemetery and all of a sudden they look down, they see an epitaph or they see a headstone and it has their name on it or they have a dream or whatever. And it was my Ortega. Or I'm gonna post it on my story so you guys can see it. Listen, I was so creeped. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I got really creeped out. I was a little creeped out. I looked down and in big bold letters, Ortega, which is my last name. I was like, all right, God, all right, Spirit, I hear you, I see you. My dad was there. Yeah, I showed my parents. They were like literally, I had the thought, I felt it, it came to me, and then it happened like within like 10 seconds. It was so crazy. I had quite a few of these moments when I was on vacation. I had like a few of these like manifestation moments. I was calling them like manifestation moments or like divine alignment moments. It was really trippy. It was really the graveyard one. That one was really creepy though. I was really. I had a moment when I was in that cemetery. I was like, I don't know, I was just there feeling the energy. Also, there was two headstones that were like baby. Oh my God, uh, oh my heart. There were like two baby headstones. They were brothers, and they're right next to each other. And someone had left little what do you call that? Little dog figurines, little dog dolls were on their headstones, and they were like together, and they were only like they passed away. They were brothers. They passed away and they were like 1 years old or something, like at the end of the 1800s or the 1700s, which is like 1880, 1890, something around there. And I was like, oh, I was like feeling into it. It was so crazy. Have you guys ever done that? Maybe I don't know. Maybe it's just my Scorpio stellium, my Sun Pluto energy. I like I've done this quite a few times. I'll go to the cemetery and I'll go and like look at people's headstones and I'll like feel into it and be like, I wonder who this person was. And I'll get like impressions of like their life or their energy or like, the things that they've gone through or like, I don't know. It's just so weird. It's definitely an eighth house. I think it's my South Node Mars in eighth house and my Scorpio stellium. That's gotta be a Scorpio thing. Has anybody else ever done that? Like gone to like the cemetery or just happen to be at the cemetery because let's say you're there for a funeral or whatever. And you like walk around, you're like feeling into the energy of the people that passed away. Maybe that's just a me thing. I don't know. But I had a moment. I had a moment. Someone said yes. No, I'm already there. I don't go just to go. No, I don't go just to go. There was a period in my life in my 20s where I would go to like the cemetery to like play music and like I don't know, there's just something that was about something about it. I was like, oh, I want to go to the cemetery and I don't know. I was in a phase. That was a certain time in my life. But no, you won't catch me at the cemetery on a Monday or a Tuesday just hanging out after work, okay? You won't. No, that's not me. I just so happen to be there. Oh, I just so happen to end up there. I don't know. I have a certain relationship with cemeteries. Cemeteries show up in really weird ways. Like, for instance, when I was at when I went to um where did I go? Mount Shasta a few months ago to go get my car smogged, right? Same thing. I went to go for a hike, and then lo and behold, there's a cemetery. Like the hike starts at the cemetery, at a cemetery. Oh, I'm like, oh, here I am again at another cemetery. Like, here we are again. Like, I don't know. There's just something about me in cemetery. I think it's my Scorpio stellium. I also think the sign of Capricorn is also connected to death and endings and like cemeteries. Capricorn actually rules over cemeteries. Not people think it's Scorpio, but it's actually Capricorn, because Capricorn is about stone. Capricorn is about, it's the traditional sign that was ruled by Saturn, is a traditional sign connected to death. Capricorn. Um, yeah. And it rules over things that withstand or that are there as an act of remembrance, or they withstand like the test of time. So if we think about like, timekeepers or record keepers, that's a Capricorn thing. That's a Saturn thing. Because Saturn is about remembering. Saturn is about time. Saturn's about legacy. So we have tombstones, right? We literally get tombstones that are like permanent. They fade away over time, right? But the tombstones, they're literally record keepers. They're keeping record of people's lived experience. They're keeping a record of people's lives. That's why we have tombstones. That's why we have cemeteries, so that we can go to remember who people were. We can go to remember the people of the past. That's the whole purpose of a cemetery, is commemoration and remembrance. And that's all Capricorn, right? The axis of Capricorn and Cancer has everything to do with legacy, ancestry, remembrance. The 10th house, fourth house axis. And you'll see this. A lot of people with Capricorn, Cancer in their chart, Capricorn sun, Capricorn moon, Cancer sun, Cancer moon, a lot of fourth house, 10th house placements. They're like the family record keepers. Like they're the ones that are getting like, the family tree together. They're the ones on, 23andMe. They're the ones on ancestry.com. They're the ones like doing the family album. They're the ones like telling the family stories. They're the ones like passing down the family recipes. Like that's a fourth house, 10th house Capricorn Cancer thing. And they're very connected to their culture. That's another thing you'll see, especially Cancers. They're very prideful of their culture. Like if someone is a Puerto Rican Cancer or a Dominican Cancer or a Mexican Cancer, they're very proud Mexican, proud Dominican, proud Puerto Rican, whatever the ancestry they come from. There's because that axis of Capricorn and Cancer has a lot to do with cultural pride and cultural ancestry and bringing things from the past and like reminding people of the past as well. Like, where did we come from? That's all the fourth house, 10th house. That's all Capricorn Cancer thing. Yes, yeah. They're the ones going all out. They got the quinceañera, the Mexican. A woman okay. If a woman's a Cancer and she's Mexican, okay, she's gonna be a very proud Mexican. She's gonna know how to cook all the foods. She's gonna have the quinceañera. She's gonna know, like, it's just a very strong thing because that is what the sign of Cancer is about. But there are some of you that have Chiron in Cancer, and so some of you that with the Chiron and Cancer, there is a little bit of woundedness around ancestry and around family legacy. For those of you that have, I have Chiron in Gemini. I was born 87. A lot of you that were born in the 90s, though, like early 90s, I think Chiron went into Chiron went into Cancer, I think, in like 89 or 90. So a lot of you that have the Capricorn stellium, the Capricorn energy, you guys got that like Capricorn stellium, you're born 1990, 1991. You guys also have the Chiron and Cancer. And you guys have a lot of woundedness around culture, ancestry, or even a disconnect from your ancestry, which is a fourth house Chiron thing. And it's also a Chiron and Cancer thing. Let me explain. Oh my God, this makes so much sense. Oh my God, this is a beautiful download, actually. This is actually a beautiful thing that I'm just putting together right now. I have a fourth house Chiron in Gemini, and I feel very disconnected from my Latino culture because I never learned to speak Spanish. My family never taught me how to speak Spanish. So it's interesting, right? Think about it. I have this kind of deep cultural wound or disconnect from my own ancestry as a Latino man because I have Chiron in the fourth house in Gemini, but it's a language wound. Chiron in Gemini. It's because I never learned how to speak Gemini language. Chiron in Gemini. I never learned how to speak Spanish. You were born in 88. You have Chiron in Cancer. So I was, okay, so maybe Chiron did go into Cancer in 88, 89. But it's interesting because I have that fourth house Chiron in Gemini and just put that together right now as me having this deep woundedness around my own cultural ancestry or cultural heritage from my mom's side, which is being like Mexican Latino, because I never learned to speak the language, Gemini's language. So that, but many of you that have that, right, that Chiron in Cancer, there is this deep karmic wound around family. You're in 92, so Chiron in Leo. Okay, so you have Chiron in Leo. Chiron must have moved, just zipped through the sign of Cancer. Chiron has a weird orbit. Chiron doesn't spend the same amount of time in all the signs because Chiron has a elliptical orbit or like an ovular orbit. Same thing with Pluto. Pluto spends longer amount of time in certain signs and a shorter amount of time in other signs because of the elliptical orbit. Your son was born May 90. Yeah, that Chiron, that Chiron in Cancer is a tough one. Yeah, a lot of the people that have the Chiron in Cancer, that is a wound around the mother, a wound around family, a wound around ancestry. Fourth house Chiron as well may be the same energy. Also a wound around for Chiron in Cancer, a wound around emotional expression. Okay, a wound around feelings, around sentimentality. A lot of people that have the Chiron in Cancer, they feel like they weren't nurtured properly. They didn't have a good mom, or that their mom didn't love them the right way, or they didn't feel supported or nurtured or cared for by their family in some type of way. Or they have a hard time receiving and expressing emotion, sentimentality, or even accepting help and support, right? That's like a Chiron in Cancer thing. It's a woundedness around nurturing and being nurtured. 79 Chiron in Taurus, yeah. Chiron and Taurus. That's a tough one. I think Chiron, no matter where you're, well, Chiron, wherever you have your Chiron, right? There's gonna be a woundedness there. So, anyways, all right. I was just putting some things together with the Chiron and with the Chiron in Cancer and the Chiron in my fourth house. I had some epiphanies right now around my own chart. Okay, let's keep it pushing. So let's get back to talking about the astrology of the week. So I was talking about the full moon in Cancer. That's how we got here. I was talking about the full moon in Cancer. Um, And I was talking about this connection to ancestry and this connection to the past and like honoring our ancestors and like, going to the cemetery. That is such a Cancer Capricorn. Maybe it's my Capricorn moon. Maybe that's why the cemetery is like such a profound place for me, or I've had these spiritual experiences at cemeteries. It could be my Capricorn moon, but yeah, this is definitely, this upcoming full moon is definitely this homecoming. Homecoming. What does family mean to you? What does home mean to you? Okay. What does being nurtured mean to you? What does mothering, the mother, right? The divine mother. If we think about Mother Mary, we think about all these archetypes of the mother, right? Mother Mary, the Virgin Mary, right? This idea that, she immaculate conception, she gave birth to a baby that was of her own creation. It came out of her, right? The divine blessing, the divine mother, right? The miracle that is birthing things, the miracle that is being a mom, the miracle that is the process of birthing, the divine mystery of creation, right? Full moon in Cancer. Connect to all of that energy. Reconnect to that energy if you've been feeling disconnected from it. This full moon in Cancer is inviting us to really take stock of how we nurture ourselves and how we nurture others, how we care for ourselves, how we care for others, how we emotionally, deeply, affectionately love others, and how we love ourselves in the same way, right? And that connection between the two. This kind of unconditional love. I always think about the sign of Cancer as like a mother's love. And a lot of times a mother's love is unconditional. Is unconditional. A mother gives without the expectation of receiving. And I also think, Cancer, the reason why the moon exalts in the sign of Taurus is because, and the reason why Jupiter exalts in Cancer is because there's enough for everybody. There's enough love to go around for everybody. This earth has enough resources to provide for everybody. Mother Nature, the planet, she's so abundant. The Empress, she has she has enough to give. There's enough to go around. There's enough for everybody. Right? Hi, my love. How are you? Happy New Year. Merry Christmas. So when we're talking about this full moon in Cancer, we're talking about this idea of abundance, of giving from a place of abundance, giving affection, giving love, giving joy, right? And being with family. Family is such a blessing. Let me tell you, family is such a blessing. I think this is why Jupiter exalts in Cancer and why the moon rules over the sign of Cancer, because we don't really realize how much of a blessing, family is for many of us. I saw your post about going through a heartbreak and such. I'm in that process, and you posting that made me not feel alone. I was like, oh, thank you. Yeah, I've been going through things. My eighth house Mars in Libra, my South Node in Libra. I've been having to learn some lessons. It's okay. We gonna do better in 2026, okay? We gonna do better in 2026. Can I get an amen from everyone in the pulpit? Can I get an amen? Okay, with 2026 is gonna be a better year. Okay. These men, you know what it is though? I'm gonna be honest. These men just need to get it together. They need to get it together. I don't know what the fuck they need, but they need to get their act together. Okay? Like, I just can't anymore. I'm done mentoring and coaching and teaching and therapying, and I'm done having to be the one that has it figured out. I'm done having to be the one that's like understands. And I'm done having to be the one to like emotionally mentor and emotionally like I'm tired. I'm exhausted. Like, how underdeveloped can we be? Like, what happened? What happened to all these men? What happened to the divine masculine? The divine masculine needs to get their shit together. If you want to be a man, then be a fucking man. Man up. Get it together. Stop being so weak. Stop being so confused. Stop being so inconsistent. Stop being so unreliable. Stop being so desire driven. Stop being so unfocused. Come on now. I feel like men have forgot what it means to be a man. Okay? I'm more of a man than most of these men out here. Okay? Like, come on now. And I'm a gay man. Like, we're just tired. This is why there's a male loneliness epidemic. This is why right now, more than ever, women are single because these men are just poor quality. Okay? They're poor quality. They need to get their shit together. Go become something of yourself. Work on yourself. Work on your personality. Work on your character. Work on your emotions. Work on your sense of self. Get to know yourself a little bit. Shit. Go on a spiritual journey or two. I don't know. Go to India. Go to Bali. Go join a monastery. Do something. Figure it out. Do something. Okay? Because the way these men are showing up, they're just not cutting it, dude. They're just not cutting it. Like, what the hell? God damn it. And then they don't want to pay for anything. Have you forgot? The divine feminine is Venus. The divine feminine is Venus. Okay? Men, you're supposed to be Mars. You're supposed to be Mars. So Venus, she gets cherished. She gets paid for, right? Venus, the planet of money, the planet of abundance, the planet of women, the planet of beauty, the planet of objects of value, okay? The planet of luxury and opulence, Venus, okay? And you can't even pay for me to go. You can't even pay for a meal. I mean, I'm not a woman, but and you won't even open up your wallet. You won't even pay for me to, you won't even meet me. I just can't, man. It's like men have forgot what it means to be a man. You forgot what Mars is about. You need to go, I don't know, we need like a gender school or something. I don't know. But these men, we need better male on all, and we just, you know what it is? I think we need better male coaches as well. Because I've been seeing all these things about male coaching and masculinity coaching and no, you all need to get it together. Stop working on the body, okay? Listen, we love that you guys are all getting your bodies together. You're at the gym, you're getting in shape. We love that for you. I love that. I love my man all nice and sexy. But no, you need to work on your mind, you need to work on your spirit, you need to work on your emotional body. Okay, we need more male coaches in the emotional, sensitive therapy realm. Okay? We need more men that are waking up men to being soft and compassionate. I miss the men of the 60s and the 70s for a lot of reasons, okay? Because if you listen to music, if you listen to the way men were singing in the 60s and the 70s, even the 80s a little bit, they were like, I love you, babe. I will do anything for you. Even the 90s men, okay? The boys to men, like the Jada kisses, like what happened to those men? Where are those men from the 90s? Where are those men from the 60s and the 70s at? Like, where did they go? They were yearning. They were crying. They were apologizing. They were, babe, I love you. I'm so sorry. I don't know how I could do that. Like, men have no remorse nowadays. They don't feel bad when they don't feel bad when they break someone's heart. You know what I mean? Sorry, the music going a little. I'm she opened the can of worms, okay? And I'm giving y'all a taste of the can of worms right now because I'm just so sick of these men nowadays, man. They are getting on my nerves. They're getting on my nerves. And listen, I'm a man and I irritate myself sometimes too. I'm gonna be honest. I get on my own nerves sometimes. I'm fed up with myself too. I'm just like, I can't believe it, Louis. You're still get you gotta it's time to grow up, buddy. I feel like I'm at church. Amen. We pray. That's all they wanted. Too many distractions nowadays. Yeah, and it's too easy. Let me tell you, you know what I think it is? Let me tell you what I think it is, okay? Men have gotten lazy and they don't want to work hard. They don't want to work hard for love anymore. And I think we've kind of forgot that love takes work, that love takes sacrifice. I think this is one of the things we've kind of forgot what love is about and what connections and relationships are about. We kind of think that we believe, I think it's because we're like the Disney generation and stuff. I think we were raised to believe that love needs to be easy, or that love needs to be like love should be desire driven and fun and exciting all the time. But baby, no, that's not the truth. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. Love and partnership, it takes sacrifice, it takes patience, it takes work, it takes time, it takes discipline, it takes self-control, it takes listening, it takes personal development to succeed in a relationship and to sustain a relationship. Beginning and starting a relationship, that's easy. The hard part is keeping it and sustaining it. How do you keep the flame going? How do you, right? Understanding boundaries, understanding the rules of engagement, understanding time. Like these are things that are a little bit more difficult, a little bit more hard. And it just feels like I will even say it, I just think it's people in general. I think many of us we just don't want to, we're just not willing to put in the work. And we're just not so focused on relationships, on it's not a fairy tale. It's hard to be in a relationship. It's hard, you know? And relationships really reveal a lot of shit. They show you yourself in some ugly ways. That's one of the things I've realized in all the readings I've done for people over the years. Relationships really show you you're ugly. They really bring out the worst of you. They can. They can bring out the best of you, but they can also bring out the worst of you, right? In relationships, they're meant to do that. They're meant to reveal and expose us. They're meant to call us out. And a lot of us, we don't want to be held accountable. We don't actually want to see ourselves or know ourselves. We don't want to get to the bottom and get to the truth of who we are. That's why we avoid relationships like the plague, because they call us out, because relationships require a certain amount of accountability. Relationships require a certain amount of integrity. Relationships require a certain amount of truth and honesty to sustain, to obtain, and to uphold them. And a lot of people, they just don't want to live up to the expectation of what a relationship requires to sustain it. It's the truth. And I'm speaking for myself too. I'm a villain in that too, okay? Because listen, like there's certain things I just don't want to compromise. And I'm just like, I think it's just I have the South Node in Libra and I have Mars in Libra in the eighth house. And to me, it's just like, I just don't want to lose any of myself or compromise myself for someone else. I just don't. Okay? I just don't want to do that. That's just not who I am. When I find myself doing that, I'm deuces. I'm outies. I'm piecing it, you know? I got some bad love karma though. Listen, just like speaking for myself, I have a 22-degree Venus in Scorpio. I have Mars in Libra in the eighth house with the South Node. Okay. I have my seventh house ruler retrograde. I have Mercury retrograde. Okay. I have Virgo in the seventh, but it's ruled by Mercury retrograde. I have karma with love. I'm just speaking for myself. Some of y'all, you have an easy love life. I love that for you. You are so blessed. Some of you guys, oh yeah, I met my soulmate when I was 18, and we've been married for 20 years, and we got like 2 kids now, and everything's been peachy. I love that for you. You deserve that. Enjoy that. Relish in that. But listen, not all of us have that, okay? Some of us, we got some fucked up love karma. Me included. Okay, me included. Some of us, our love karma is like, damn, what did I do? Like, what did I do to deserve this? That's how I be feeling about my love life sometimes. Like, wow, here we are again. I wonder how that happened. Karmic lesson after karmic lesson. Shit. Give me some peace. Always getting dragged in the mud, man. And you know what's so funny? It's like I never see it coming. I don't the way karma, we're really blind to our own karma. It's one of the things that I think is so funny. It's so fascinating. Even when it comes to astrology and whatever, like you could think you have it all figured out. You could think you cleared that karma, you learned that lesson, you're so developed and you're so wise and you're so mature and you've grown up, and then that person enters your life and there you are right back to square one with all those same old lessons, all those same heartbreaks, all that. It's like, I guess I really didn't learn that much now, did I? Oh man, the way God be teaching us these lessons, the universe has jokes. I really will say that. Okay, let's get back to the astrology. The moon's actually rising right now. So we have the ascendant in Taurus. The moon's at 5 degrees Taurus. The moon's actually rising right now. So it's really funny how we're talking about relationships. The moon's actually going over my sun and my Mercury, or it's actually opposing my sun, my Mercury, and Scorpio. So funny. All right, well, let's get back to the astrology of the week. So now that let me get off my pulpit. Let me stop ranting. So we're an hour in. So let's start talking about. Let's go do the day by day play. Yeah, That's another thing. Mike says right. That's another thing. We refuse to learn the lessons, and we choose to do the same thing over and over. This is so true. This is so true. We refuse to learn the lessons, and so when we refuse to learn them, what do? We're bound to repeat them. We're bound to repeat them. So, whatever lesson you don't learn, my love, it will come back around in another form or fashion. I'll tell you that. Okay. All right. So, Moon and Taurus today and tomorrow. We have Sun, Venus together, relishing in the gifts of Christmas, feeling very connected to the body, feeling very embodied, feeling very grounded. This is definitely family time. This is definitely, people still getting gifts or receiving gifts even after Christmas. That's really funny because that's going to be happening to me. I want you guys to be mindful of it's the sun trying the moon though. Oh, so this is also the fifth house away. Oh wait, no. Karmic-y. Never mind. We had our new moon in Sag and the moon in Taurus is the sixth sign or sixth house away from our new moon in Sag. So this is kind of like a karmic moon transit. So things around like illness and sickness, things around like maybe, loss, struggle. Maybe there's certain lessons that need to be learned from our new moon and Sag cycle. So this could, there could be things for mutable signs, especially Pisces, Virgo, Gemini, Sag. With the moon in Taurus, I want you guys to just be thinking about what has entered and what has exited your life over the last few years. I think this new moon in Sag, like this mutable season, because the next mutable season that we have is Pisces season, and that's going to be the last season with Saturn's transit with Saturn in Pisces. So this mutable season, this past Sag season, this like new moon and Sag cycle that we're going through, we're going to be wrapping up on Saturday with our full moon in Cancer, and also Pisces season for mutable signs, especially Pisces, Virgo, Gemini, Sag. There's a lot of things around like just like finishing things out or like ending things or like closing things out or just like maybe even like some kind of struggle or some kind of loss or hardship. Okay. Also, we got to think the nodes are going through Pisces and Virgo, so there could be things that mutable signs. There's certain things that are like out of your control, or certain things that are just kind of fated and destined that are kind of like your timeline moving. You're moving through your timeline, right? And you may feel very unsure. You may feel very insecure around the direction, around where you're going, whatever. But you just have to keep walking. You have to keep moving. A lot of mutable signs are finding themselves there in this kind of like place right now. So it's okay. If you're a Pisces, Virgo, Gemini, Sag energy, you've been feeling very confused, very lost in the sauce. There's been kind of like these endings or these tragedies or these struggles or these hardships, but you don't really, and you're kind of, or you're working on something, you're working towards something, but you're just seeing a lot of delays or a lot of setbacks or just taking a little bit longer for things to open up or for doors to like open or for things to move forward. Just be patient. Okay. Understand it's part of this kind of like karmic transition that the planets are going through. And also it's part of this karmic thing with Saturn in the North Node in Pisces. So with the moon in Taurus, and us kind of wrapping up our new moon and Sag cycle with the moon in Taurus over the next few days, I just want you guys to be mindful of certain things that we're leaving behind. And this could also just be like we're leaving things behind in 2025 collectively. There's things that we're not taking with us into 2026. And we just need to be very intentional around what we're leaving behind and what we're also bringing with us into 2026. I think the moon in Taurus, over the next few days is also an opportunity to connect to like art, connect to beauty, connect to the body, connect to the health. There's been a lot of health issues or people getting sick. People tend to get sick around this time of the year because this is a year this is a period of like going inwards and healing, but this is also a year of like also a period of like purging. Saturn, he likes to clear things out. Saturn rules salt. Saturn rules the is connected to the mineral salt, right? And we use salt in so many purification rituals. There's a lot of cultures, a lot of religions, a lot of also spiritual lineages that use salt as a purification element. And so Capricorn season, right, kind of reminds us to purify ourselves, to cleanse ourselves. And a lot of that releasing, that purging that happens also happens in the body through illness and through sickness. So this is why a lot of people, they tend to get sick going into the new year around Capricorn season because their body needs to purify something. Their body needs to cleanse something. The body needs to release something, right? The earth signs, Virgo, Capricorn, and Taurus, are very connected to the body. The earth signs are connected to the material world. The earth element is the densest. It's the most physical. It's the material element, right? So when we're talking about our relationship to the material world, we're also talking about our relationship to our health and our body, especially Taurus and Virgo. Taurus and Virgo are these signs that are really connected to health of the body. Taurus is the building blocks of the body. What is Taurus? Taurus is the food that you put into your body. Taurus rules the throat, but Taurus is also connected to the tongue and the mouth because we eat. What you put into your body, Taurus, you become, right? So we're talking about Taurus and Virgo. We're talking about Virgo is the sign of health. Virgo is about the daily maintenance that you need to do in your life to sustain and keep your health. That's what Virgo is. Virgo is, oh, I got to brush my teeth every day. I got to go on a walk every day. I got to like eat right every day. I got to take my vitamins in the morning. That's what Virgo is, right? But Taurus is actually the elements of the body, like what you're putting into your body, like what you're eating, your diet is, right? Well, the sixth house in Virgo is also connected to diet, like, but it's more like patterns, like diet patterns, where Taurus in the second house is actually connected to the food itself that you're eating, right? So we can look. This is why when I'll be looking at your guys' charts and I'll give you a chart reading and I'll be like, oh yeah, you really like oily foods, or you really like sugar, or you really like milk. Because one of the things I notice is the sign ruling your second house or the planets in your second house, right? People that have the moon in the second house, they love dairy, they love milk. People that love Jupiter, that have Jupiter in the second house, they love foreign foods, they love oily, fat foods, rich foods. People that have Mars in the second, they love meat, they love red meat especially, or spicy hot foods. That's a Mars thing, Mars in the second. I'm a Taurus rising, and food is my Bible. Yeah, right. Food. It's so interesting. You know, another really cool way to think about Taurus in the Taurus Scorpio axis is how we create food by breaking things down and transforming things. Scorpio, right? So a lot of food. What do you do, right? With the basic ingredients when you're cooking a meal, right? Or you're preparing something. Taurus is like the ingredients. But what do? You apply heat. You bake it, you cook it, you fry it. You apply some kind of heat in order to transform the food. Scorpio, Scorpio ruled by Mars. Mars is the planet of heat. Scorpio is a sign of transformation. Scorpio opposes Taurus. So what do we? So cooking is about this transformative process that the earth element goes through to turn something into something else. And another thing to think about when it comes to Taurus, right? And the axis of Taurus and Scorpio, this is so interesting. It's another way I want you guys to think about it. The transformational process of Scorpio and Taurus is one direction. So when you cook something, you transform and you change it permanently, you can't have it go back to its original ingredients. It's a permanent thing. So like when you turn, noodles and whatever into pasta, once you have the pasta, you can't break it down and go backwards and go back to the basic original ingredients because it's permanent. Cooking is permanent transformation. It's the axis of Taurus and Scorpio. Does that make sense? I want you guys, this is a great way to think about the signs. This is a great way to learn astrology and to kind of get outside of the box when it comes to understanding astrology. Okay? Because of every axis, every polarity has something to teach us. And we can always connect every axis and every two sign axis, every polarity to something. There's like a metaphorical way that we can apply it to something to learn about it, right? So I always think about that axis of Scorpio and Taurus having to do with how food, when we cook something, it permanently transforms and changes it, right? And there's no going back. My daughter is a Taurus rising with the moon in the second. My girl loves food. Oh yeah, that's the eater right there. Yeah. Well, when you have the moon in the second, or even for Gemini rising, they have Cancer in the second. That's about emotional eating as well, or emotion. The second house is also spending, right? So one of the things you'll notice is that when people have the moon in the second, when they're emotionally distraught or emotionally stressed out, or they're just like going through like sadness and stuff like that, they'll want to eat and they'll want to spend money. That's a second house moon thing. That's also an earth sign moon thing. A lot of people that have an earth sign moon in Virgo, Capricorn, Taurus, the way that they deal with their emotional stuff is by spending money or by eating. Yeah, spending money, eating. She said, yeah, she said me. Yeah. So yeah, so the moon is in Taurus over the next few days, So with the moon in Taurus, the moon in the second house, yeah. With the moon in Taurus over the next few days, we're gonna feel a little bit more hungry. We're gonna want to eat a little, we're gonna want to eat better quality food. We're gonna want to spend money over the next few days. My Virgo in the second has me eating salads, making green juice, and doing yoga, LOL, investing in my health. I love that for you. One of my best friends, she's a Leo rising with a second house Virgo moon. And she has a 12th house Cancer stellium, one of my best friends. I love that Virgo moon. I have so many friends and so many people in my life that have Virgo placements because that's my seventh house. Yeah, you had an eating disorder. Yeah. Yeah, the second house. Yeah, the second house. Having a second house, I like the moon in the second. I really do, but it comes with its struggles, you know? People can, I've noticed that people, when they have a second house moon, they can also be really bad with money. That's another thing. Mercury in the second as well. Gemini, Virgo in the second, or having Mercury placed in the second, it can make people really like, they just, money comes and goes very, very quickly. So money comes and like they spend it, or they have a hard time retaining and holding on to money. This is because the moon and Mercury are fast-paced planets and they're changeable planets, and they're planets that are kind of like they move. They're very quick-paced, right? The moon is the fastest moving celestial body. It goes around the earth, right? Very, very quick. 2.5 days, I believe. Well, no, I don't know. I don't know the answer to that question. I don't know. I actually don't know that. But what I do know is this moon takes 2.5 days to change signs, and the moon is the fastest moving celestial body. Mercury's the second, right? So when people have Moon Mercury in the second house, or ruling the second house, or influencing the second house in some type of way, they can be really bad with money. They can be really bad with money. Yeah. Also, I've noticed Moon Saturn influencing the second, Moon in the second, that can also lead to whatchamacallit, South Node in the second, Saturn in the second, sometimes Uranus, Neptune, really depends. Um, Body dysmorphia or diet issues, like issues with diet. So, um, like overeating, undereating, Saturn in the second can be someone that deals with whatchamacallit, anorexia or bulimic. There could be bulimic, right? Because because the restricting energy of Saturn in the second is like no food, no food, right? I can't have food. Can't. So this energy of like the Saturn in the second really shows up as this energy of deprivation and lack, but also extreme discipline to the point of total rejection of food, anorexia. Saturn influencing the second, right? Um, and you'll also see this with Saturn in the first. Some people have Saturn in the first, they'll also, it's also like but it's like a self-confident, self-worth thing, right? It's like the second house is about self-confidence and self-worth. So if people feel like, oh, if I'm not worth nothing, I'm not deserving of nothing, then I'm also not gonna eat anything. I'm not gonna take anything. I'm not gonna receive anything. I'm not gonna put anything into my body. So this idea of I'm not worth anything, I'm worthless, becoming a wasting away of the body or a total rejection of food. It's like this psychological physical thing. It's this kind of energy that's showing up with the mind and the body, right? Yeah. That's when the second house ruler is being influenced by Saturn, or even when sometimes people have the south node in the second house because of my daughter and the way my husband approaches her eating habits. Yeah. If you have children that have a very strong second house, or you notice their second house is like they got Saturn there, they got Mars, they got a stellium there, they have Uranus there, they have Neptune there, they have a south node there, right? Or they have a Saturn ruled or Mars ruled second, or they just got a lot going on with the second house. You want to really early on in life, you want to really teach them to value themselves. You want to help them build a healthy relationship with the material world. So this is like a healthy relationship with food, a healthy relationship with money, a healthy relationship with objects and things. Okay. um because they will use the second house, that second house can become a deep source of psychological, emotional, and physical wounding for them, where they'll have a wounded relationship with money, a wounded relationship with food, a wounded relationship with themselves, their own self-worth, their own value, wounded relationship with their body. They won't be confident, they won't value themselves. They'll also have weird values, or they'll be overly materialistic, or totally or like under materialistic, or they totally reject money. They're like, oh, they're afraid of money. They don't know what to do with money. They overspend. They feel entitled, right? That could be a sun in the second house thing. Sun, Mars in the second, feeling entitled to things they don't want to share, right? These are all things, second house things, Taurus things. You got to work on these things with your children very early on, like 3, 4 years old, teaching them how to share, helping them build a healthy relation with food, helping them eat things that they, even if they don't want to eat it, too bad, you got to eat it anyways because this is good for you, right? Like certain things like this, these are all very important things. If you notice that your child has a second house signature, the second house is important. There's a lot going on with their second, okay, or it's afflicted in some type of way, you be very mindful of this, okay? These are all things that I talk about in my children's chart readings. So when I do natal chart readings for parents, I do a lot of readings for parents for kids. So, I read a lot of baby charts. I read a lot of children's charts. Um, and it's one of the things I go over. I always talk about, wherever their Saturn and their Mars is placed at. I always talk about, where they're going to experience hardship or difficulty and how the awareness of understanding that where they're going to experience hardship and difficulty can help us circumvent or prevent altogether, hopefully, the worst manifestations of certain placements that they have, because some of your guys, some of your kids, listen, they have really hard charts, you know what I mean? And another thing that's really interesting as well, this is another download that I get very often when I'm doing children's chart readings, is not everything that a child deals with or that's hard or difficult about your child's life is inherited or is something to do with the parents or like you, like mom and dad. A lot of things that children or even us that we're born with, like afflictions, hardships, difficulties, karmic struggles that we have, are unique to our own individual soul. They have nothing to do with ancestry. They have nothing to do with what we've inherited. There's a lot of karmic struggles and things that our children are going to deal with, or that we're going to deal with, that are totally separate and apart from our family, that have nothing to do with family karma. It has everything to do with your own individual soul and what you've come here to learn. This is a very important thing because a lot of times parents will take on so much guilt and they'll be so ashamed and they'll feel like failures and they'll internalize so many things because they feel like they failed their child. They feel like they couldn't help their child. They didn't save their child. They didn't prevent their child from going through X, Y, and Z, right? Or they should have known better, or blah, blah, blah. But my love, I'm going to tell you this right now, okay? There's certain things that you are going to go through, that your children have to go through, that they're going to experience. There's also certain qualities of character, certain ways that they are, certain like personality things, certain whatever limitations that they're going to experience, hardships, whatever, that they have to go through, that are unique and special to them, that have absolutely nothing to do with you. You couldn't have done anything to prevent that. You couldn't have, you could have been the best parent possible. You could have given them everything. You could have given them the best start of life, right? But they still had that certain thing within them that they had to go through. You know what I mean? I think about this a lot with parents that have children that are like serial killers or have children that are just like really violent for no reason. Like the parents are very peaceful and they grew up in a really nice house, but for some reason they have that problem child that's just like violent and angry and temperamental and just always getting into trouble. Sometimes that's just what the child has in their own soul, right? And the reason why that child was born into a family of like privilege where it's like easy and stuff is because they have no excuse now. It's like that child. It's like, okay, right? In past lives, whatever, you had to be a criminal to survive. You had to, like, be a pirate to get by. You didn't have a family, whatever. But in this lifetime, okay, you're born to good parents. You have a good upbringing. What's your excuse? You're still going to be a criminal. You're still going to be violent because certain people on a deep soul level, they have karmic attachments to identities and lifestyles and ways that they lived before. Right? So many people, I don't want to say many, but there are people that have lived many lives as a criminal, many lives as a warrior, many lives as as a violent, whatever, right? They've been a militia person, they've been a general, they've been whatever, right? So they come into this lifetime to actually do something different. Okay, now it's time for you to be a little bit more peaceful. Now it's time for you to be a little bit more kind. Now it's time for you to kind of settle down. You don't have to go and fight and be a warrior in this lifetime, but they're still not learning. They're still not realizing, wait a minute, I don't have to be this, violent, crazy, dangerous person and to get by in this life. I don't have to. So it's very important. It's a very important thing because it's one of the things that I realized, like in doing so many readings for children's chart readings for parents, is like sometimes you just have a bad, like sometimes your child is just a bad seed. They have a certain karmic thing, you know? But also, another thing is sometimes your child has a certain karmic thing that they inherited that goes way back generation wise. So they got like great 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 grandfather's karmic thing, right? Or they're going to remind you of your great 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 grandmother or grandfather or an aunt and uncle like 2 or 3 generations back. So that energy may not be present, or there those certain karmic struggles or lessons or personalities or whatever may not be present in this current generation of the family lineage, but maybe 100 years ago, right? There was that energy there. Maybe 100 years ago, right? We were a family of warriors. We were a family of militiamen. We were a family of whatever, whatever, right? So there's kind of like recycling of old souls sometimes. This is one of the things I've noticed. So I'll be like, wow. I'll look at a chart and be like, oh yeah, this child is just like your grandma or your grandpa, or this child is just like your aunt or your uncle, or this child's going to remind you of your brother or your sister. And they'll be like, oh my God, that's so crazy because they have their same name, or I already see their personality, their character, like showing up just like them, you know? We don't always take after our mom and our mom or our dad. Uh-uh. Sometimes we take after our mom's sister. Sometimes we take after our mom's dad, our grandfather, right? Sometimes our children are born with certain karmic patterns that are about that are like inherited generationally or ancestrally, but not directly from mom and dad. Does that make sense? And I get these downloads when I'm doing readings. When I'm doing children's chart readings, I get these downloads. It's important to remember this as a parent because then you don't end up. It's like everything's not your fault, right? Like you don't end up taking a false sense of responsibility for things that were out of your control. It had nothing to do with you. You know, I think it's very, very important because we gotta have discernment around that, right? Like we live in a generation right now where, like, especially my generation, the Pluto and Scorpio generation, we blame our parents for everything. Like everything is our parents' fault. Like everything is my mom and dad's fault. Like how many of you that are around my, because I'm in my late 30s right now, but how many of you like in your 30s, even those of you in your 20s, like blame your parents for everything? Like if you didn't blah 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 blah, I wouldn't blah 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 blah. Like we really do, but I think we need to have discernment not only as children, okay, but also as parents. Parents you need to have discernment around what actually is your fault and what isn't your fault. And as children, we need to have, right, discernment around what is our parents' fault and what is not our parents' fault. Like we need extra discernment around that because we want to blame, we're so quick to blame our mom and our dad for everything, right? But at some point, it's not their fault anymore. Like once you're aware, once you're woke, once you realize, okay, this is what the karmic pattern is, you have a choice. And you can make a change. You can do it differently, right? But not everything is your parents' fault, and not everything is, and even for like parents, you know, this is me talking to parents, not everything is your fault. Not everything is your fault. There are certain struggles or certain qualities of character. There's certain choices, certain decisions that your children are going to make. There's certain things that they're going to experience or go through because of them, because of who they are, right? And so that discernment is needed for when they're trying to blame you for some shit that's not your fault. You know what I mean? Someone said, I was legit at church praying over this because, yeah, maturity is taking accountability and just remembering we have karma from our past lives. Yes. Or interactions with others besides our parents. Exactly. Yes. Everything, like, we all have these very intricate karmic narratives. We all have, we all have history, karmic history with one another, right? And we don't really know what it is, but we end up finding out when you know, as our narratives develop, when we are in relationship with each other, no matter what kind of relationship that is, whether it be the parent-daughter relationship, whether it be the best friend relationship, the lover relationship, even sometimes the employee-boss relationship. You know, sometimes that's a very karmic thing too. My husband looks just like his grandpa who got shot when his mom was 8, and his mother acts like a child in his presence, completely different with his siblings. Yeah, see? So he's got, and this is another, oh my God, this is another thing. Oh my God, I was gonna post it. I need to just like be more consistent on threads. I was gonna post this on threads. Sag and Pisces people Sag and Pisces kids, kids who are 12th house, ninth house kids, are going to remind you of your grandparents. They're going to take after your grandparents, and they're going to have that kind of grandparent wise energy. And they are even going to have a strong relationship with grandparents. Sag Pisces people that have Sag Pisces placements, people with strong ninth house, 12th house placements. They're going to remind, if you have a kid that has a ninth house son, you have a kid that has a 12th house son, they're more than likely going to remind you of one of your grandparents. Or they're going to have their energy, or they're going to have a really strong spiritual connection to them. They may even have their same name. You may even give them their name. This is because of the energy of Jupiter. This is because of the influence of Jupiter. Jupiter's energy. Jupiter is about grandparents, you know, and this is about this kind of like this ancestral generational karmic thing. And also, you know, Sag and Pisces are signs that are here to teach us deep spiritual profound lessons, you know. So when a Sag or a Pisces is born into the family, that's because the family is in need of spiritual healing, either spiritual healing, religious healing, or the family's in need of some kind of expansion, some kind of growth. We need to go, we need to move. We need to go to a different country. We need to go move across the state, right? When Sag and Pisces kids are born, when we start having a lot of Sag and Pisces kids, it's time to grow. It's time to expand. The family is trying to reach for more. The family is trying to grow. Pisces sun, Sag moon, sun in the ninth house. I am named after my grandmother, look like her, and was close to her and her mother, who is a great grandma. See that? These are all things I'm putting together. You won't read this in a book, okay? This is something I realized. Like, this is a download I got, like, I think it came through, was it yesterday or the day before yesterday? It was a download that came through. I was like, wow. I was like, yeah, there's this connection between like Pisces and Sag and like grandparents. And like this influence of like the 12th and the ninth, and how like grandparents show up in these people's lives. It's just something I like put together. Thank you, my love. She called me a genius. Oh, you're so sweet. Yeah, I'm gonna post that on threads. Okay, let's keep going because we're an hour and a half in and I'm still on the moon and Taurus. All right, so let's keep going. I just keep going. I keep having these little tangents. I'm so passionate about astrology, and I love sharing these insights with you guys. Me having a Jupiterian dad and brother. Pisces rising, bull, Jupiter, Gemini, fourth. I'm the youngest, but feel like the mom. So accurate. Oh, damn. I just hopped on at 3:33. I'm a Pisces stellium in the 11th and 12th house, and my grandmother is heavily influenced in my life. Oh, I love that. Yeah, you see? Yeah. This like Jupiterian energy. You know, grandparents are really Jupiter. That's why they could be so kind and so giving and so benevolent, you know. But I've noticed also when people have an afflicted Jupiter, they have a tough Jupiter, they can have a struggle, they can struggle with their grandparents, so they can have grandparents that are kind of mean. Also, when Jupiter and Saturn are aspecting each other, or an aspect to each other, like sometimes people have Jupiter Saturn together and they can have grandparents that are very mean and very cold and very domineering and very controlling. And you know, my grandma actually had that. My grandma has Jupiter Saturn together in Taurus, and she had a grandmother that was she was close to, but she also had grandparents that were kind of mean to her. Okay, let's keep going. So, moon in Taurus today and tomorrow. Then the moon goes into Gemini. So, the moon's going to be in Gemini. The moon's going to be in Gemini on New Year's Eve and on New Year's Day. And then the moon goes into Cancer on Friday, and then we're building up to our full moon in Cancer on Saturday. So the moon is building up. The moon is taking up more space. The moon is gaining light as she's building up to the full moon that we have on Saturday. But the moon in Gemini on New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, and on the second is gonna be fun. I just gotta be honest with you guys. It's a Gemini moon. We're out on the town. we're talking, we're mingling, we're mixing, we're hanging out with our aunts, we're hanging out with our uncles, we're hanging out with our siblings, we're hanging out with our friends. This is a very fun, it's a very fun place for the moon to be in for our New Year's celebration. Okay. One of the things I will say though, which is what I was talking about in the first hour when I was talking about Mercury at 29 degrees, because we have so as the moon is in Gemini, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, the moon is responding to Mercury, who's at his last degrees of Sag. Oh, Jupiter, fifth house conjunct Saturn. Jupiter, fifth house, Saturn in 10th house, and was killed before I was born. Oh, literally a Mercury. Wow. You have to show me your chart. I'd love to. Well, I'm very curious to see that, you know. Um, I'm cool that you put that together though in your chart. That's awesome. I love when people are, when we really gotta like, I still have discoveries in my chart. Even like today when I was talking about my fourth house Chiron and Gemini, and I was talking about like my deep wound around ancestry and my cultural heritage around being Latino, my like Latino identity. That deep wound being the disconnect with language, Chiron and Gemini. Gemini rules language. I have Chiron in the fourth house in Gemini. Like that was something I put together today. Like there's still like I still even to this day, even though I've been doing astrology now for like 5 years, like actually practicing like full time as astrologer for 5 years, I still have epiphanies and realizations around my chart. Like it's so crazy. Still, there'll always be something new. Your chart will always give you something new. It's so cool. Yeah, everything's about to be in Capricorn. Yeah. So Mercury wraps up in Sag on Friday, and Mercury goes into Capricorn for our full moon in Cancer energy. Capricorn is a very tight energy. It's a very controlled energy, We have Sun, Mars, Venus, Mercury all going to be in Capricorn starting on Friday for our full moon in Cancer and Saturday. And I will tell you guys, Capricorn energy is like it's like getting back to business. It's like what's our goals? What's our routine? Like it's really about like it's about commitment, it's about structure, it's about discipline, it's about regulation. It's also the energy of no. So, Capricorn energy being ruled by Saturn is a very no energy. So, I just want you guys to be mindful of going into next week of this energy of things kind of like slowing down, things kind of getting heavier, things feeling a little bit more serious. Also, us kind of going back into being a little bit more private. I think of Capricorn and Cancer as very private signs. We have a full moon in Cancer, right? Opposing the whole Sun, Mars, Venus, Mercury, and Capricorn. So I'm kind of thinking of us going back to being more private, or us kind of going back to being at home, and us kind of like getting back to business. Yeah, Chiron and Gemini. Yeah, it's a tough one, Chiron and Gemini. I did a live on where I went through like all the Chiron signs or a lot of them like a few years ago. But yeah, Chiron and Gemini, it's like a wound around siblings, it's a wound around communication, it's a wound around not being heard or listened to in your upbringing. It's also a wound around education and learning. Also there could be a wound around the mind, like Mercury in some type of way. So learning disabilities, struggles with comprehension, sometimes motor skill issues. Chiron and Gemini manifests in a lot of different ways. I've noticed it in a few different ways though. I've noticed the karmic wound with siblings. That's something I've worked on a lot. I have one brother, and we both have Chiron and Gemini. And does he have no? I think he has Chiron and Cancer actually. My brother has Chiron and Cancer, yeah, but I have Chiron and Gemini. So I've noticed that show up as a few different things. But yeah, I have it with the siblings. Chiron and Sag. Yeah, I have like there's like a wound around siblings, a wound around communication, a wound around self-expression, things like this, wound around learning. Yeah, Chiron and Sag, because it's on that axis with Gemini, it's mirrored, right? It's kind of there's like it's like a similar energy. Oh, you have it. Yeah, Chiron in the third house. Yeah, that's another one. Yeah, that's the woundedness around siblings. Yeah, Chiron in the third house. So you always want to. So you for your Chiron. if this is with any placement, you want to understand what it means by sign, but also by house. So any if you don't know, like let's say you remove all the signs from your chart, right? If you just look at your chart by the houses and where the placements are in them, like where the planets or asteroids or whatever in them, you should be able to like delineate, you should be able to extract meaning and make very strong statements about those placements. Because Mars in the second is going to mean something. Chiron in the third is going to mean something apart from the sign that's influencing it, right? So the sign that your Chiron is in is going to modify it, is going to add more meaning, but the house is very important because the house is particular to you. There's a whole generation of people that have Chiron in Gemini. There's a whole generation of people that have Chiron in Cancer, but it's going to show up differently for everybody depending on which house it's placed in, right? So not everyone has the same Chiron in Cancer because some people have it in the 12th house, some people have it in the 7th, some people have it in the 10th, some people have it in the 4th. So depending on the house placement of your Chiron, that's where it becomes more personal. It becomes more particular. And this can be said for all placements. You know, everyone has, especially for the outer planets, right? There's a whole generation of people that have Pluto and Scorpio. There's a whole generation of people that have Neptune in Capricorn. But how does that Neptune show up for you in your life? Well, take a look at the house placement, because the house placement of your Neptune, of your Uranus, of your Saturn, of your whatever, makes it particular to you, your lived experience. That's where it becomes individual. That's where it becomes an individual thing, right? I know. Yeah, I have a friend that I have who has Chiron and Leo conjunct the sun opposite Saturn. So he has Sun Chiron together in Leo, and they're both opposite Saturn Aquarius. And when I saw that in his chart, I was like, damn. To me, that is a very, very hard. That's a hard thing to have. Chiron and Leo in the rising, I think Chiron and Leo is a little rough. But when it's like in aspect to the sun, it's like on the sun, opposite Saturn, the same. I was like, whoa, and yeah, and I've also, we've had a lot of conversation about how that has showed up in his life and how he's still working through that. That's a tough one though. All right, let's talk about. Okay, let's keep going. So yeah, so I was talking about the weekend. I was talking about New Year's Day and New Year's and the moon in Gemini starting New Year's Eve, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. But okay, the moon in Gemini is responding to Mercury in Sag, who's at the last degrees of Sag. And what is Mercury doing? Mercury is squaring Saturn and Mercury is squaring Neptune. Okay. So with that being said, okay, we need to be very mindful of who we're surrounding ourselves with and what kind of substances we're putting in our body for New Year's. Okay. Don't put any foreign, strange, you don't know where it came from, you don't know where a source substance is in your body this New Year's. Okay. Be a little calculated with everything. Be disciplined. Know your limits. Don't go anywhere that you don't know where you're going. You don't know where you're headed. You don't know your surroundings. You don't know who you're with. You don't want to invite this kind of foggy Neptunian shadow. You don't want to invite the shadows of Neptune Saturn of a Mercury Neptune square into your life on New Year's Eve or on New Year's Day with the moon in Gemini, because the moon in Gemini is like, oh, let's have fun, let's go, whatever, I'm down to have fun, let's just do whatever, right? But the Mercury in Sag squaring Neptune, the Mercury in Sag squaring Saturn, separating from the square Saturn, I don't know, it's kind of giving cancellations, it's giving setbacks, it's also giving people getting sick or getting ill. So that's another thing. There may be canceled parties or canceled celebrations because people are sick or ill. This is also giving thievery and theft. This is giving loss of objects and loss of things. So if you're going to go out and party, do not take any objects of value. Be mindful of leaving expensive things at home. Just because Neptune, and especially Pisces, Neptune and Mercury, they like to steal things. They like to take things. And they also like losing things. Neptune, especially when Neptune and Mercury are speaking to each other in a square, in a harsh aspect, It's about loss of objects and losing things and forgetting things and not knowing where we're at and stuff. So I just want you guys to be mindful of this, okay? This could also be about profound spiritual or emotional experiences as well, though. This could also be about deep emotional connection. We got to also remind ourselves that the sun, Venus, and Mars are all together. So, this could also be an energy of meeting people and connecting to people. And we're feeling very, very passionate and we're feeling a little feisty. So, yeah, I just want you, I'm going to be at a house party. I'm going to be hanging out with some friends on New Year's Day or on New Year's Eve and going to New Year's Day. So, yeah, I'm probably gonna be the D&D though, because I'm not a drinker. I don't like alcohol. I'm not a drinker. I'm not an alcohol person. That's not me. But yeah, I just want you guys to be mindful of this energy, okay? Mercury square Neptune. This could also be about food poisoning. This could be about toxic food. This can be about, oils, gases. This can be about also stormy weather, rain, which is something. It's so funny how we had one of the rainiest Christmases here in California ever. And the rain's coming back for the New Year's, I believe. It's because of Neptune's energy, but it's also because all the Capricorn energy is responding to Saturn and Pisces. And Pisces brings what? Pisces and Neptune brings what? The floods, rains, storms, unpredictable weather. So there could be cancellation of events and things like that, especially events that are going to be outside on New Year's Eve or New Year's Day because of the weather. Oil was just dumped in the water. Oh, yeah, that's Neptune. That's Mercury square Neptune. It was like an oil spill. Yeah, that's Mercury square Neptune. Yeah, Neptune has a lot to do with oil spills, chemicals. Also, like, yeah, just be careful with any kind of substances, you guys. Like especially if you're taking like any kind of pills or anything like that, for the holiday, for New Year's, you want to party, you want to have fun. Just be really careful with what you're taking, okay? With what people give you, okay? Only because of the Mercury Neptune square. To me, that's a little bit of a scary square. It kind of is giving blackout. I don't know. It's kind of giving people blacking out and not remembering what happened or not remembering where they ended up and shit. So don't be that person, okay? Don't be that person. Don't be the messy person that falls apart on New Year's, okay? And the moon's also going to be in Gemini, so no drunk driving. I'm telling you, the authority figures are going to be out. Okay, the police are going to be out on New Year's. We have Sun and Mars together, both the planets of authority and rules. Well, actually, Capricorn sign of rules. Sun and Mars is not the planet of rules, okay? Mars likes to break rules. But in Capricorn, Sun, Mars, and Capricorn, authority, rules, regulation. Got to be mindful of this, okay? Also, don't be surprised if people, if there are like, let's say a neighbor comes and knocks on your door, tells you to turn things down. Don't be surprised if that happens on New Year's or New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, because of the Sun and Mars together. Authority, people are power tripping right now a little bit. Sun, Mars together in Capricorn, people could be power tripping a little bit with Sun, Mars together, okay? Especially cardinal signs, Aries, Cancer, Capricorn. I don't think of Libra as a sign that power trips, but Aries and Capricorn and Cancer, Aries, Capricorn, and Cancer, signs that power trip. Gotta call a spade, you know what I mean? Yeah. Mars is activating the cardinal sign. So, Mars going through Capricorn is opposing Cancers. So if your Cancer friends are a little bit more moody, a little bit more irritable, a little bit more defensive, your mom ain't putting up with shit this holiday season, well, that's because Mars is transiting Capricorn. And Mars is also squaring Libra and Aries. So, oh, look at who's making an appearance. Come here, little baby. Come here. Come here, my handsome little. Oh my God, you guys, he is looking a mess. Okay, don't judge me for how ragtag my dog is looking right now. Come here, my precious little boy. Ah, look at him. Look at him. Look at the boy. Speaking of Libras, look at him. He's looking a little messy right now. He's looking a little messy right now. He needs a haircut. Huh? It's his winter coat though, huh, Bubba? It's your winter coat, huh? How you doing, Bubs? Hmm? How you doing? Look at him. Yeah. Look at him. He's all standing all. That's his Simba pose right there. All right, Bubs, come on. I'm gonna put you over here. You good? He's gonna hang out on the chair next to me. He's been out here hanging out with me the last few hours. Yeah, he's super fluffy right now. That's my little baby. That's my little baby boy. It's been really cool actually. Me and my brother he has a dog named Kobe. My mom has a dog named Gigi, but my brother kind of takes care of both dogs. But we've been going every day. We've been taking them out on a walk, all three dogs on a walk. We go to the park and watch them run around and play and stuff. Oh, he's super spoiled. Oh, this dog is so spoiled. He's so spoiled. So yeah, authority figures, cardinal signs, Capricorn, Cancer, Aries, Libra, Mars opposing them, squaring them, conjoining them. They're feeling a little type of way right now. So you may not get, the peace and love that we typically see from Cancer and Libra. We may not be seeing that this season, okay? Because Mars is kind of agitating them a little bit. So yeah, the moon in Gemini, lot of also maybe Moon and Gemini people are also traveling. There might be some short distance travel for the New Year's, so you could be going to visit family, visit friends, visit a sibling. Or there's also this energy. Jupiter retrograde in Cancer is also about talking to people. Moon and Gemini, Jupiter retrograde in Cancer for New Year's, talking to people or seeing people that you haven't seen in a long time, connecting to people that you haven't connected to in a long time, and also people just kind of like coming out of the woodwork. So this can be like, oh yeah, you run into someone that you haven't seen, someone at the supermarket that you haven't seen in years, from high school. You guys know each other from high school, but you haven't seen them in 10 years, and you go to the supermarket and you run into them, and like that type of energy. So there's definitely this energy of reconnecting to people from the past, or people coming back from the past that we haven't seen in a long time, that are part of like this karmic connection or something. Okay. So be mindful of people that you meet or people that come back into your life starting on Tuesday, going into the full moon. Okay. Or starting on Wednesday, actually, when the moon goes into Gemini. All right. Because there's definitely this energy. I don't know. I'm getting a download around like people coming back from the past, because there's something they're gonna like be a part of our future, or they're gonna be a part of new things to come, or they're gonna be a part, or also, I don't know, this is also this energy of kind of like, I don't know, there's this healing of karmic wounds from the past and kind of like getting closure, hmm? Getting closure or getting clarity around things that happened in the past that we were like, oh, what happened? Oh, I thought you didn't like me because of blah blah, or I thought blah blah happened, or whatever. And then all of a sudden you're like, wait a minute. You talk to them and that's actually not what happened, or that's not what they were feeling, or that's not what they said, or whatever, right? So there's something about that as well. Feel the future, that song keeps playing in your head. Yeah, there's gonna be a lot of people. Yeah. Full moon in Cancer, like a day after New Year's, like we're hanging out with our family. We're hanging out with our family. Also, this is a message I just wanted to share. This is a message from Jupiter while he's in Cancer. This is for somebody. If you've been thinking about going to visit your family and like your family ancestry, like your family, like let's say you have a property out in Timbuktu, out in India, in South America, in the Philippines. Let's say you have family land, family property. You have family that's very far in another country or somewhere. Go visit them. Go see them. Okay? Get that trip and do it next year. All right? If you've been thinking about it, you're like, oh, I've been thinking about going to visit my great grandmother and whatever, whatever, and I haven't seen her, or I've never seen her, I've never met her, and I want to meet her. And I feel like I want to go visit and meet her and go meet my family over there. And I've never been there before. And it's like your first time doing that. Do it. Do it. Okay. This is for somebody. Go. I'm just getting a really strong message from Jupiter. Timbuktu, baby. Do it. Okay. Like go back. Go back. There's a message coming through around that very strongly. Around people needing to go back to visit, like where, because you know what it is? You need to see where you came from. There's this energy of reclamation of ancestral identity. Ooh, 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 that hit so strong right now. Ooh, reclamation around ancestral identity and ancestral heritage. Ooh, that hit so strong right now. That hit me hard. There's a message coming through about reclaiming our ancestors or reclaiming our ancestral lineage or reclaiming where we've been, where we came from. And also getting to know it, like meeting where we're from, like meeting our roots. Oh, wow. Yeah, that's like messages coming through so strongly. Wow. Look what Kim said. I did that this year and it was profound to understand my lineage and environment my nervous system was shaped in Japan. Yeah, Kim went this year. So Jupiter and Cancer, right? Kim went this year. She went back to Japan and she went to go visit her mom. It was good and bad. It was as all things are with the mother. I don't know. I think as things are with our mom, right? Like things with our mom, right? No, it's it's so funny. But yeah, that's the Jupiter in Cancer, you know? So she had a really profound experience, and thank you for sharing that with me, and thank you for sharing that experience with us, Kim, because I think there's so many people that have been feeling this call to like go back home or to go back to their ancestry, go back to their roots or go back to their ancestral lands, like and like it's like paying homage to the ancestors. It's like a pilgrimage, like a spiritual pilgrimage of sorts. Very, very cool. So yeah, so the moon in Gemini is going to be very fun, very exciting, very busy, very, very busy. We have a very busy New Year's. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, moon in Gemini. Okay. So then the moon goes into Cancer on Saturday. Actually, Friday evening, like Friday midday, the moon goes into Cancer. And we are in our full moon or we are in our full moon energy. Okay. I'm gonna tell you right now, my loves, there's gonna be a lot of emotion coming up for this full moon. A lot of emotion coming up for this full moon. It's right next to Jupiter, so it is feeling good. But I don't know. I just the words. You know what phrase just popped into my head, and this just came out of nowhere. Settling the score. Settling the score. So there's something about, maybe this is because the Sun and Venus are going to be together. There's something about rebalancing relational scales or rebalancing karmic scales when it comes to like family and ancestry, when it comes to home. So this could also be about rebalancing like situations where power needs to be rebalanced. Okay. Um, this can be about situations where power needs to be rebalanced in certain relationships. Okay. Or this could even be about like embodying our power more or asserting our power or something like this. Another download I just got is there's going to be a lot of people divulging or expressing feelings that they've been withholding or that they've been keeping to themselves. So another download I got for the full moon in Cancer is like this kind of openness and this divulging and this like sharing of sentiments and feelings and emotions and like letting people in, like letting people know what we've been feeling. Okay. So this could be like, oh, I've been liking you for a long time and I'm barely expressing that emotion. Oh, I've been feeling very afraid or very nervous about this thing for a long time and I'm expressing that emotion. Oh, I've been feeling like you haven't been really giving to me or whatever, and now I'm expressing that. So there's definitely this energy of like openness of emotional expression and like kind of like divulging and like letting things out or letting people know things that we've been withholding or that we've been keeping to ourselves that we feel like we've been needing to share. Okay. That's another thing. This is the download. This is like a separate thing. Um, Not everybody is empathic and intuitive. Not everyone can emotionally pick up on other people's needs. Water signs, especially Pisces and Cancer, also Virgo, because you guys have the gift. You guys can do that. You guys can pick up on what other people need. And Taurus has a gift for this too. Taurus, Virgo, Cancer, Pisces. Not everyone has the ability or the capacity or has cultivated the ability to feel what other people need, what other people want, and to kind of just intuitively understand other people's needs and wants. So with that being said, we need to give people an opportunity this full moon in Cancer to show up for us and to care for us and to nurture us in the ways that we want to be cared for and nurtured and supported and all those things. Because not everyone understands how to do that, and not everyone has an intuitive understanding of what other people need the way we do, right? Like I always know what people need. I'm a Pisces rising, I'm a Scorpio stellium, okay? I have an intuitive understanding. Like I know when I know my dog is hungry. I know my dog needs to poop and pee. I know my dog is hungry and needs to eat. I just have this intuitive relationship with his needs. I just know that. Not everybody has that. The fire signs and the air signs especially don't have that. They don't have that kind of intuitive, empathic understanding of other people's needs. So if you are a water sign, earth sign person dealing with air sign, fire sign people, let the full moon in Cancer empower you to express and give people the opportunity to give you what they need, or to give you what you need. I'm sorry, to give you what you need. How are they going to know how to show up for you and how to help you and how to support you and how to care for you and how to nurture for you if you're not expressing that to them? You're just assuming that they should just know that because you know that. You have it because you have an intuitive understanding of that for others. But no, like not everybody has that. So I think it's very important with this full moon in Cancer coming up this weekend that we really express our emotional needs and wants to others, and that we give others people the opportunity to show up for us. We can't just assume that they know that we're feeling a type of way, you know? And this is like those funny, it's like those funny meme videos that you see where like the girlfriend is mad. She's like, oh. And he's like, "What'd I do? What's wrong?" And she's like, "Nothing's wrong. Nothing's wrong. I'm fine." And he's like, "Clearly something is wrong because you're like, you have an attitude." She's like, "I'm fine. Everything's okay. I'm not bothered. I'm okay." And then like 10 hours later, she's like, "Okay, you know what it is? You didn't get me breakfast when you got yourself breakfast. Like you just went and got yourself breakfast, right?" And he's like, "Well, I asked you if you wanted something. I asked you if you needed something. I texted you. You didn't text me back, right?" It's like we gotta be more open and more divulging with what we kind of emotionally need, because we gotta give other people the opportunity to show up for us. You know what I mean? Thank you. This is so mind blowing right now. Just had this convo about parents with newborns. Scorpio has this ability too. But Scorpio, okay. The reason why I didn't include Scorpio in this, Scorpio has the ability too, is because a lot of times Scorpio kind of knows what people need, but they're not going to respond to it. Because Scorpio is a sign that's very much like, go deal with your own shit. I know you're going through things. I know what you need, but you go get that for yourself. Scorpios only if like Scorpio's really invested in you, if you're like their kid or their spouse or their lover or whatever, then they're gonna be like, oh, they're gonna show up and just they have that intuitive understanding, but they're not gonna always respond to it and not be so open to just like giving and like nurturing and supporting the way Cancer and Pisces are. Cancer and Pisces will give it freely. Scorpio, not so much. Scorpio, they'll know what you need, but they'll be like, do I really want to give that to them? Do they deserve it? Are they gonna reciprocate? No, I'm not sure. Yeah. And Scorpio is very much like if you want something, go get it yourself. I think that's another thing that Scorpio and Capricorn have in common actually. They're very much signs of like if I want something, I'm gonna go get it myself. If you want something, go do it yourself. If you need something, I'll do it for you if you ask, but I'm not just gonna go ahead and just like willingly, you know? We're not, and also Scorpio is not a sign that just divulges things. That's not just very willingly lets go of things in that way, or is like, and you'll notice that Scorpios are very picky and choosy with what they tell you. They're not, Scorpios are very strategic with information. They're not just gonna like openly give or divulge things. They're very, very like, I'm gonna tell you what you need to know. I'm gonna tell you just enough, but I'm not gonna tell you everything because Scorpio knows the value of information, you know, knows the value of information and the value of secrecy as well. But yeah, but Cancer and Pisces are definitely more tapped into that kind of like empathy, that kind of like nurturing. I also think of I also, I guess another reason why I think the empathetic intuition is stronger or is not as strong with Scorpio. I think of the moon going to its fall in Scorpio. And I think of the of Venus being in detriment in Scorpio. So I kind of think of Scorpio as like, I think Scorpio is better at tapping into people's trauma and tapping into people's like fears and triggers, but like tapping into people's like needs empathetically, I don't think so. I think Scorpio is better at tapping into people's like trauma. Like like their empathy shows up differently. It shows up as more of an intuitive understanding of like people's woundedness and their pain, right? Not with their needs per se. Does that make sense? I don't know if I think I expressed that good. I think I expressed that well. Okay. So yeah, for our full moon in Cancer, the moon goes into Cancer Friday, Saturday, and things get very, very sensitive and very emotional. But it's also very expansive because it's co-present with Jupiter. I feel like this full moon is going to be a good one, my loves. Ugh, I think this full moon is going to be a good one. I think this full moon is really going to have us feeling very, I don't know, maybe like a redemption of hope or a redemption of faith, or I don't know, maybe there's like emotional clearing, like we've emotionally cleared a lot of things out and now we're just feeling back to ourselves. I have to like really there's this phrase homecoming that's coming through really strongly though. So I don't know why, but I feel like there's certain people that are coming home to themselves or coming home to family, or even there could be other people like coming home, right? So there could be like, let's say you haven't seen someone in a long time and they're coming to visit you, something like that, you know? There's this really strong energy of homecoming though, going home, okay? That I have coming through with the full moon in Cancer. Really, like I was saying in the beginning, really good full moon for manifesting a living situation or change of living situation or a move or a property or real estate, and also for manifesting any kind of creative things or any kind of procreation stuff. So it's a really good full moon to set intentions or do manifestation work or ritual work or magic around procreation and babies, if that's something that you're trying to do, or also around like home living situation, purchasing of a property, things like that. Okay. I think there's going to be really good news that comes in for a lot of people around those both of those things with this full moon in Cancer coming up. Because it's right next to Jupiter, you know, it's right next to Jupiter, and we have Sun Venus together too, and that feels really good. That feels very sweet. You know, people getting jobs though. We're gonna also big career changes. I really do think I'm gonna tell you right now, okay? And if this is you, lean in. People are really starting a new career path this upcoming year. I just got to say it. There's a lot of people that are going to be starting a whole new career path. They thought they were going to do this in their life, and the divine and Saturn and Jupiter were like, nope, actually, you're going to do this. Actually, you're meant to be doing this. Actually, this is how you're going to show up in the world. Actually, this is how you're going to make money. Actually, this is the business partner you're going to have. Actually, this is the group of people you're going to be like very strongly. Okay, very, very strongly. Sex magic. Yep, you want to do that. Yep. Hey, that's manifestation. Sex is an act of manifestation. So is masturbation. Masturbation can also be an act of manifestation if you're doing it appropriately, you know? If you're doing it appropriately. You know what I mean? Yeah, cancers are very sexual. Anybody know why Cancer is a sign that's very sexual? That's one of the things that I think cancers actually, a lot of people don't know about cancers, or they don't really get a lot of, it's just never talked about. Cancer is a sign that is very kinky and very sexual. They love them some sex, and they're very kinky about it too. Anybody know why? Can anybody guess why Cancer is such a kinky, freaky, deaky sign? It's because they have Scorpio in the fifth house. It's because they have Scorpio in the fifth house. Yeah, Lucy said it. Yeah, you guys all said it. Scorpio in the fifth. Yeah, it's Scorpio in the fifth. This is also why when it comes to love, cancers will go apeshit crazy. Cancers will, if there's one weak spot that cancers have, is definitely love. I have literally seen cancers go ape shit crazy. They will go mentally, they'll be mentally unwell when a relationship is not working out. And it's because of the Scorpio influence in the fifth house. They get obsessive. I feel like when it comes to love, I feel like cancers actually behave more like Scorpios than Scorpios do. I think cancers get really jealous, really obsessive, really intense. I think they'll stalk you. You will have a cancer stalk you. Cancers will stalk you. She said LMAO. Yeah, because of the Scorpio influence on the fifth house. Yes, listen, it's okay, my love. I see you. It's okay. You don't have to be honest about it. It's fine. Okay. That was you in your 20s, in your teens, in your 20s. Cancers will go and listen. And you know what? What's always driving, the sign that's always driving a Cancer crazy? Always. You will always see this sign driving it. Well, actually, two signs. Two signs that drive Cancers crazy: Sagittarius and Pisces. You got Cancers and their karmic connection to Sag and Pisces placements. That is something that is just written in the code. That's written in the divine orchestration of everything. Aquarius, yeah, Aquarius is not free. That's your eighth house. Yep. Aquarius can't. I don't even like. Okay, so this, whatever the sign of your sixth or eighth house is, I'm gonna tell you right now. Okay, you have no business interacting with the signs of your sixth house or eighth house. You can, it's fine. Have fun with it. Okay, but don't be surprised if it all goes down in flames, especially if they got a lot going on in your sixth or eighth house. Okay. Pisces rising, crazy Cancer sun. Yes. Yes. Cancer rising has Aquarius in the eighth. Damn, my mom and dad. Oh my God. Your parents' signs are your sixth or eighth house. I feel for you, my love. That's karma right there. Cancer mom and Sagittarius dad. Oh, baby, and they're still together. Hopefully, are they still together? Your Cancer mom and Sag dad. Oh Lord Jesus. It's just like and you know what? You know what's so funny about the Sag Cancer dynamic? The Sag is always the menace. The Sag is always the villain, and the Cancer is always the victim in that dynamic. Whenever I've seen this karmic narrative between like the Cancer Sag, the Cancer is the wounded one crying at home, And the Sag is the one out in town, out having fun at the bar, partying with the friends. Every time, every time. And then the Sag comes home, and then the Cancer's like, where were you? The Sag was like, I was just out with my friends. Oh, you should have been at home with me and the kids. It's like always. That's like a tale as old as time. That's like a Sag Cancer archetype right there. Sag is the villain. I'm a Scorpio with the Pisces moon. With I'm a Scorpio with Pisces, my moon rising in Virgo sign. Oh wow. Oh, you're sweetie. You're a little sweetie. That's why you like me, because I'm a Pisces rising. So I'm all since you're a Virgo rising, my Pisces rising is in your seventh house. I'm a Scorpio as well, but I'm a Pisces rising. So you're like opposite of me. Okay, cool. All right, my loves. Well, the moon's gonna be in Cancer Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's gonna be a beautiful, abundant, family-oriented, nurturing, sensitive, creative full moon. Really good for any kind of manifestation work, manifestation ritual. Um, Let me see if there's anything that I'm. Oh, let's talk about this real quick. Mercury does go into Capricorn. Okay. Mercury does really well in Earth signs, though. All right. Mercury in Capricorn is about business. So, what I will tell you guys with Mercury going into Capricorn on Friday, conversations are going to get a little bit more serious. A lot of people, we're going to start thinking about and talking about our future plans, our goals, our ambitions. Mercury going into Capricorn, also our commitments, our contracts, the rules and the regulations in our relationships, boundaries, the energy of no, telling people no. Okay, that's going to be in the air with Mercury's ingress into Capricorn, and Mercury being in Capricorn starting January 2nd for all of January. Okay, but we are entering 2026 with a hoorah, with a bang. Okay. It's a 1 year, it's a fire horse year, it's a year of initiation and beginnings. All right. We have the outer planets all ingressing and starting their cycle into new signs. Saturn really begins his transit in Aries next year. Neptune begins his transit in Aries next year. Uranus begins his transit, his 7 year transit in Gemini next year. Pluto's already in Aquarius, but he's going to be really firmly moving through Aquarius next year. Next year is going to be our first full year with Pluto and Aquarius. So we have the outer planets and Saturn all starting a new cycle from this year to next year. And they're really starting it next year. Next year, they're really entering the new signs. They're not going to be retrograding back into the old signs next year. No, they've firmly progressed into new signs. So this kind of tells us that we are entering a new reality, a new timeline, a new cycle, not just individually, but collectively. We're seeing it everywhere. We're seeing it with the economy. We're seeing it with the culture. We're seeing it with the music. We're seeing it with politics. We're seeing it with leaders. We have all these beautiful, new, fresh politicians, all these young, youthful leaders stepping into positions of power. We have Zoran Memdani, who just got, elected as the mayor of New York, right? This young, hopeful, this youthful, hopeful, right? We have a lot of new energy, new leadership, new energy, new things coming. So we just need to lean into that, okay? Lean into that energy, that one energy next year. Be a pioneer, be courageous, be brave, separate yourself from the pack. This period that we're in, it's really about standing out. It's really about your uniqueness. It's about how you stand out, how you separate yourself from the crowd. Okay. We don't want to fit in right now. This isn't a time of fitting in. This is a time of standing out, individuation. That's what the 1 year especially is going to be about. Any significance if you're also having a personal 1 year? Well, that's a double 1 year for you, boo boo. So that means that it's really going to be about you. It's just an amplification of the celestial energy. So if you're having a personal year and a personal 1 year, and it's also the universal energy, then it's going to be double amplified for you. So it's like more about individuality. It's more about beginnings. It's more about starting something new. Okay. Or about independence. I don't know. I was getting a really strong thing about independence and initiation for you. Um, Port, I think I remember us doing a reading. I think I remember you from our reading. Yeah. Yeah, you're growing something new this year. You're going something new. If you're in a personal 2 year, but it's in a universal 1 year, then that's probably going to be starting a new relationship or going in a new direction with your relationships. Yeah. Universal 1 year combined with a personal 2 year, that gives me beginning a new relationship. Falling in love with somebody new. Also, maybe dating someone younger or being with someone younger. Okay. Or even if you have kids or children or things like that, people beneath you, they could be starting or something. They could be starting a family or something like that. So, yeah. Okay, my loves. Well, you guys all have a beautiful, blessed day. Happy New Year. Merry Christmas to you and yours. I love you all so much. My bookings for February are going to be opening on the 1st of January, on January 1st, on Thursday, January 1st. I will have my February availability. If you want to book a reading, go to my link tree. Okay, go to my link tree. And then there'll be when you click on my link tree in my bio on my page, on my Instagram page, there'll be a little button that says book a reading. Okay. I'm like pretty booked right now though. Like I literally only have maybe 1 or 2 appointments available at the end of January. So I'm going to be opening up all of February though on the 1st. So if you guys want to get in for February, okay, go ahead and book. Also, I will be adding another thing you want to look out for those that are here. Another thing. Oh, the moon's already out? Where? My dad said, look behind you. The moon is up already. Oh, yeah, the moon is rising. Yeah, the moon is rising. Yeah, because the Taurus is on the ascendant and the moon was on the ascendant, rising. So yeah, so the Taurus moon is in the sky right now, actually. And you can actually see it if you look at the chart. So let me show you guys. Those of you on Instagram, I'm gonna show you something really quick. So this is really cool. So you can, because it's like this is how astrology comes to life. So you can visually see it. You can visually see the astrology. Okay. Let me show you guys. So let me turn this around real quick. Okay, hold on. Oh, let me angle it this way so you guys can see. There we go, like that. Okay, so you see, this is the ascendant right here. So this is the chart of the moment that we're looking at. This right here, this is the ascendant. So this is where the sun rises. Okay, so this is the eastern horizon line. So if I look to the east, if the sky was clear, I'd actually be able to see Uranus. But look at we can see the moon just over the eastern horizon, right? So if this is the eastern horizon line, I should be able to see the moon just above the eastern horizon. So I'm going to turn to the east. I'm going to turn to the east. This is the east over here. And what do we see in the sky? Hold on. Right there. Here. Look at her. That's the Taurus moon. So this is right because this is the eastern horizon. So we can see the moon is just above their horizon, and there she is right there, just over the eastern horizon. This is literally how you do, like you apply the astrology to where the planets are actually at in the sky. Like this is like astrology in real time. Like, and it's one of my favorite things to do. Like at nighttime, I'll go out and I'm like, oh, Jupiter's on the ascendant, or Jupiter's rising, or Jupiter's just on the MC. And I'll go look up in the sky and there's Jupiter right there. So it's literally how you connect the astrology in the chart to the actual planets. It's a really cool practice. It's one of my favorite things to do. You can also do this with like the stars and stuff. If you had like a telescope, if we had a telescope, we'd be able to see Saturn and Neptune. When the sun's out, you can't really see. It's a lot more fun to do this stuff at nighttime because you'll be able to see when the planets are rising or setting and stuff. um yeah, it's a lot of fun. So okay, my loves, mwah, I love you all so much. Happy New Year. Be safe this new year. Mercury's going to be square Neptune. Be careful with drinking and driving. Don't take any pills or substances that you don't know where it's sourced from, you don't know where it came from. Don't overindulge. No overspending, no overdrink. Don't do too much of anything. Okay, this New Year's, be very disciplined as much as possible. Fun with boundaries. Okay, this New Year's is about fun with boundaries, fun within the limits, fun within the limitations. I'm gonna honor Saturn for this new year. Okay. We don't want to do the Mercury and Sag square Neptune and Pisces. Okay. That, yeah. Don't lose anything. Don't forget anything. Also, if you're gonna go out and party, I would say leave objects of value at home because you don't want to get anything stolen or you don't want anything to come up missing. Okay. Happy New Year, my loves. Well, I'll see you guys in 2026. I'll see you in 2026. I love you all so much. Okay, I'll see you guys around. Bye.